Oh yeah,
Obama did it. We never saw any of this fucking.
He deported over 3 million people.
We never saw any of this shit.
It's all a show.
Yeah.
It's all a show on both sides.
They didn't wear the camouflage. They didn't wear masks.
That's what I'm saying. There's a way to do it.
Yeah.
This is he's put on his show of force. That's what he wanted. Everything's the show.
Here she is.
Everything's the show for him. I said, but it's at some point you gotta be like, hey, it ain't working.
I like her. No booty. No booty. No looty, no booty. God dang it. I lose his head every day. Every day I lose Reggie's head.
What do you think this is, the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get up close like this. Bada bing! You blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good afternoon to you, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, however you may be viewing for those subscribing on YouTube. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We stream live at KERNradio.com and broadcast live. Isn't that thing a little close, Chris? On YouTube. Chris Burdick producing on the 15th day of January, the birth date, the actual birth date of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. At the bottom of the hour, I'll spend that walking you through kind of a Reader's Digest version of Dr. King's life. You will hear a portion of his most famous speech, his I Have a Dream speech in the March on Washington in 1963. And you'll hear what I think was his finest speech, the final ending of his prophetic speech, where for the first time in his life, he discussed his own death and was murdered some 8 hours later. And if you've listened to this show at any portion, you know I believe that is not a coincidence. It is a Thursday. Mike Turnipseed will be here at 4 o'clock, Executive Director of the Current Tax Association, and Mr. Petrie at 4:30. In the 5 o'clock hour, there's a story coming out of Westwood. The DUI director at UCLA was fired for remarks that he made regarding Charlie Kirk's death, where he basically celebrated and said that it's good that a bigot is dead, and cited some of the things that Charlie Kirk said and claimed that he was a bigot and claimed that it was a good thing that he died, that he got what he deserved. Well, he's been fired, and that's a big story down in Los Angeles. We'll unpack that. And has anything changed, Chris? Is it just very strong rumors that John Harbaugh is going to the Giants?
The deal is essentially done. They just haven't really figured out the numbers yet. So
Let me think. I always thought of the 7 gigs, Atlanta was the best gig.
I'd argue you were correct.
With what was his Dejan?
You got it right the second time.
Dijon mustard. You got a decent quarterback, perhaps, in Pennington. Perhaps you never know because he's always injured.
Penix, but yeah.
Penix, whatever. You got a decent roster. I think it's the best roster.
Easily.
Well,
no,
argue the
outside
Giants.
of Baltimore, obviously, but he's not going back.
He ain't go back there. And I would question, yeah, you're right. That is the best roster. That is the best job. Because the first thing I would do is I would go to 22 and say, I am going to run you 30 times a day.
Thank you.
You understand that?
That's what
I don't care what the situation is. I don't care how many points we're down. I'm going to run the football with you 30 times, 17 times next year. Let's make that clear. But that's a whole other discussion. But we begin with, and we'll also walk you up to the playoffs. The schedule is in stone on Saturday on CBS. The Bills will travel to Denver to take on Bo Nix and Sean Payton, who I hate, at 1:30. And then the line is 1.5, Denver, the favorite. What say you, Mr. Early Bird Special?
I don't like the bye week during playoffs, although traditionally in the NFL it does work out. But the last decade, we've seen a lot of the teams get knocked off. Personally, I think Denver is going to be the next in line to have that happen.
Yeah. Okay. 49ers taking on the Seahawks at 5 o'clock. The Seahawks are 7-point favorites over the 49ers. God, I would hate to have to bet the 49ers, but if I had to, I would take that 7 and run like a thief. I know Kittle's not playing, but McCaffrey still is, and they still have a roster of decent wide receivers. I think the Seahawks are going to win, but by 8, 10,
that's a stretch.
That's a stretch. But I can't bet on the 49ers. I'm going to be rooting against them, if for no other reason, so we don't have to hear Larry on Monday. And then on Sunday, New England is a 3-point favorite against the Texans. It's on ABC at noon, and the Rams are 3.5-point favorites. That can't be right. Is that right?
Over the Bears? Oh, yeah.
They're favorites against the Bears in 9-degree weather. That's insane. What? I'm loading up on Caleb. I'm loading up. That's insane. Matthew Stafford played in Detroit, but that was a dome, Jack. They are LA boys. There's no way in the world they're going to go in there in that kind of degree temperature. Please stand by. Hey, Siri, show me the weather in Washington, Chicago.
It's currently partly cloudy and 22.
Yeah, I want to see the long forecast. Sunday, 8 degrees is the low, 20 is the high.
That's what I'm saying as well.
No. And I'm getting a field goal. I win.
Mile-an-hour wind, 60% humidity.
And I win if it goes to OT because I got the hook. It's 3.5. Please. I love the Bears in that game. But we begin with the president and the Minneapolis situation, where the president has announced after last night's incident where a federal vehicle was ransacked. They went through it, got federal papers, government papers. They went through a canister of weapons that included Kevlar and weapons. And then, of course, the Venezuelan immigrant who was shot by an ICE agent. What you probably have not heard, if you're listening to the national media, CNN, MSNOW, MS Now, whatever it's called, that you probably haven't heard that there was a chase, there was a car chase, then a foot chase. They ran the man down. He, according to DHS, grabbed either a shovel or a broomstick and attacked the agent, who was then also attacked by two others involved in this chase who were later arrested. And of course, as you probably know, the agent shot the Venezuelan immigrant who's been identified as Julio Cesar Sosa Solis, an illegal immigrant who was released by the Biden administration, shot him in the leg. If you have not seen the mugshot of him, you will. He's laughing and giggling. And that's who these people are defending. That's who these people are going into the neighborhoods. There was mayhem throughout the night, mayhem throughout the morning, where these people are simply getting involved in the operations of ICE agents. Can you imagine being an ICE agent right now? Can you imagine? You think they're enjoying this? You think they like this? Because Democrats do. They believe that these guys are drunk with power and they're loving it and blah, 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 blah. Are you kidding? It'd be my assumption that they are detesting this, having bricks thrown at them, rocks thrown at them. And the bottom line is you cannot get involved in the middle of an investigation or a criminal detention. It's the bottom line. And finally, the Minneapolis mayor has kind of backed off and is telling people now to go home and don't incite this, because this thing is only going to get worse. This thing is jumping up out of control. The president is talking about invoking the Insurrection Act. Let me just quickly go to my notes and read you what the Insurrection Act states. It states that the Insurrection Act authorizes the president to deploy military forces inside the United States to suppress rebellion or domestic violence or to enforce the law in certain situations. The statute implements Congress's authority under the Constitution to, quote, provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions. It is the primary exception to Posse Comitatus Act, under which federal military forces are generally barred from participating in civilian law enforcement activities. Although it is often referred to as the Insurrection Act of 1807, the law is actually an amalgamation of different statutes enacted by Congress between 1792 and 1871. Today, those provisions occupy sections 251 through 255 in Title 10 of the United States Code. So in other words, if the president feels that this thing is out of control and that they are attacking these agents and that local authorities are not, which they are not, defending those agents, he can, in fact, put in the National Guard and the military if necessary. Can you imagine seeing our military guarding our streets in America? That is an ugly, ugly sight. It truly, truly is. Please stand by. Soft opening for the ages. The basement at Woolworth's Friends and Family Night tickets. Oh, it's our guy from Moneywise, Sherrod Brown and his wife. Am I correct?
Shared weight.
Sherrod Waite. Thank you. And his wife. They have a soft opening, apparently. The basement at Woolworth's Friends and Family Night tickets, Wednesday, January 28th. Let's go ahead and take our first break of the day. When we come back, you will hear from Carolyn Levitt and some stunning audio from the press secretary who lit up a reporter who asked a question about how ICE is going about this, in particular in regards to Renee Good. The press secretary flipped the script on the reporter and asked him, why did Renee Good die? And he responded, because an ICE agent acted recklessly and shot her in the face. Well, you can only imagine how she retorted. You'll hear that when we come back. Then at the bottom of the hour, I'll give you a Reader's Digest version and walk us through the life and times of Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. My goal, I think at least one or two things you'll learn about Dr. King that you did not know before. And then coming up at 4 o'clock, Michael Turnipseed will join us. Daniel Petrie at 4:30. We'll talk about the DEI hire at UCLA in the 5 and talk a little football at 5:30. It's the Ralph Bailey Show on the 15th of January. A heavenly happy birthday to the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We celebrated on Monday. We'll be dark on Monday, by the way. Little 3-day weekend. Excited about that. I'm going to get 36 holes in this weekend. Quick time out. We're coming right back. It's TRBS on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Couple of money matters on the next Armstrong and Getty Show. Those wonderful sounding charitable endeavors your local government is involved with. Where does the money actually go? We've got a great case study for you. And who's financing all these protests around the country?
Who talked Trump out of attacking Iran? That story's growing and getting more interesting. Among more news of the day, we'll have for you on the next Armstrong and Getty Show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
One of the highlights of this radio broadcast appears on Thursdays at 4:30. Our money man, Daniel Petrie with Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors. You all know by now what Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors are all about. You know that I've turned on staff members who are extremely happy with being a client with Daniel. And I've told you, I've been a client for almost a decade now, and it is the single most important and smartest financial move I have ever made. If you're staring at retirement late in life and you're in the fourth quarter, call Daniel at 395-9400, 395-9400. Just keep it locked. Tune in every Thursday at 4:30 when it appears on the broadcast. Daniel Petrie and the folks at Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors.
This broadcast is for informational purposes only. Does not constitute a solicitation or offer to buy or sell any security, future, option, or other financial instrument, or to offer or provide any investment advisory or other services to any person in any jurisdiction by Daniel Petrie or MPWAE, DBA, Messmaker, and Petrie Wealth Advisors. Any views expressed in this broadcast by us are prepared based upon the information available to us at the time, and we are under no obligation to update our views.
When winter weather hits and the power goes out, will your family still have heat, light, and communication? The Grid Doctor 3300 solar generator from My Patriot Supply gives you serious off-grid power. It'll run heaters, refrigerators, medical devices, and more without gas or noise. Right now, you can double your power for free with a free expansion battery when you order the Grid Doctor 3300. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and get your Grid Doctor 3300 today. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Meet Matthew Preston. Inside his apartment, everything he holds dear is protected by Progressive's renter's insurance, like his laptop and a surprisingly valuable collection of baseball bobbleheads. Outside his apartment, his laptop is still protected, as are his bobbleheads, which he carries around with him for reasons no one knows. Renters, the limits of protection aren't just the four walls of your home. When you're in Progressive's Protection Zone, get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Let me make a new start. Let me get over you the way you gotten over me.
I want to get right to this. I don't have a lot of time. We got a lot of bites from Carolyn Levitt, who was on a heater this afternoon in Washington talking with the media. Here is her first question dealing with the Insurrection Act.
The Insurrection Act is a tool at the president's disposal. As you know, it has been used sparingly, but it has been used by previous presidents in American history. And I think the president's Truth Social post spoke very loud and clear to Democrats across this country, elected officials who are using their platforms to encourage violence against federal law enforcement officers, who are encouraging left-wing agitators to unlawfully obstruct legitimate law enforcement operations. And if you talk to any law enforcement officer, no matter what level they work at, they want to be working with their counterparts, whether that's at the federal level or the federal authorities wanting to work with their counterparts at the state and local level. And it's truly shameful that now for more than a year, you've had elected Democrat governors and mayors who have basically held their state and local law enforcement hostage and told them, you cannot cooperate with federal law enforcement. Why? They cooperated under the Biden administration. It's because these Democrats are deranged in their hatred for President Trump, and they are holding their state and local law enforcement hostage as a result.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely 1000% agree. But at some point, there's got to be some compromise on both sides. And I think this is an opportunity for the president to reach out to the mayor of Minneapolis and perhaps even Tim Walz, who is trying to bring down the temperature a little bit. But at the same time, you can't say that you're de-escalating when you're telling people to resist ICE. You're telling people to resist the police. It's one thing to protest, but it's another thing to get in the way of law enforcement. The greatest civil disobedience in the history of this nation was the civil rights movement in the 1960s. I'm going to get into this when I talk about Dr. King's life after the break at the bottom of the hour. It was based on Mahatma Gandhi. It was based on David Thoreau and his belief that the main purpose of the civil rights movement is we cannot break the law. We cannot appear to white America that we're a bunch of thugs trying to bully our way into getting our constitutional rights. Do you understand, as I'll talk about it in a little bit, the LCLC, an organization that was created, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, used to have training. They literally used to train because any movement is moved by the young people. King and Abernathy and these guys were in their 30s. They were at that point, in terms of a rebellion, old men, 35, 40. It's like sports. You've got to be able to go and sit in and protest and walk. And that's in this situation, it was generated by the students. And they would literally have classes to teach the children where they would berate them. They would berate them the way Branch Rickey berated Jackie Robinson to get ready for what he was going to go through. And they would call them all kind of names. And they would throw powder on them to imitate flour if they were in a lunchroom. And they trained them not to disobey the law, not to get in the way if one of your cohorts gets arrested. But that's not happening here. That's not civil disobedience. When you see somebody getting arrested and you get in between that cop and the arrestee, that is a crime. That's not civil disobedience. Here's more from Carolyn Levitt talking about the media's part in all of this.
The media is absolutely complicit in this violence because if you look at the headline from CNN, protests erupt after federal agent shoots man in Minneapolis, that is not the story, that is not the truth. If you actually want to know the truth, you can look at what the Department of Homeland Security released, which is that this ICE agent was executing a targeted operation against a Venezuelan illegal alien who was unlawfully present in the country, who fled by car and then fled by foot. And when this ICE agent tried to detain the individual, 3 more of his comrades came rushing out of the house and started ambushing and attacking the ICE agent. They used a shovel or a broom to smash his face in. And so, yes, that agent had to use self-defense and take up his weapon to protect his own life. That is what's happening on the streets of Minneapolis. That's what's happening on the streets, unfortunately, of these Democrat-run cities and states where you have elected officials who are encouraging such violence against our brave men and women in law enforcement.
Finally, this is Carolyn Levitt. I don't know who the reporter is. I don't know where he's from. He sounds British, but this has been playing all morning long on just about, even CNN played this. It's some pretty stunning audio.
33 people died in ICE custody last year. 170 US citizens were detained by ICE, and Renee Good was shot in the head and killed by an ICE agent. How does that equate to them doing everything correctly?
Why was Renee Good unfortunately and tragically killed?
Are you asking me my opinion? Because an ICE agent acted recklessly and killed her unjustifiably.
Oh, okay. So you're a biased reporter with a left-wing opinion.
What do you want me to do?
Yeah, because you're a left-wing hack. You're not a reporter. You're posing in this room as a journalist, and it's so clear by the premise of your question. And you and the people in the media who have such biases but fake like you're a journalist, you shouldn't even be sitting in that seat. But you're pretending like you're a journalist, but you're a left-wing activist. And the question that you just raised and your answer proves your bias. You should be reporting on the facts. You should be reporting on the cases. Do you have the numbers of how many American citizens were killed at the hands of illegal aliens who ICE is trying to remove from this country? I bet you don't. I bet you didn't even read up on those stories. I bet you never even read about Laken Riley or Jocelyn Nungray or all of the innocent Americans who were killed at the hands of illegal aliens in this country. And the brave men and women of ICE are doing everything in their power to remove those heinous individuals and make our communities safer. And shame on people like you in the media who have a crooked view and have a biased view and pretend like you're a real honest journalist.
It is a legitimate rant. Where were they when Laken Riley died? Where was the outrage when that young woman was coming home from work in Charlotte, North Carolina, and got on their metro rail and had her throat cut? Where were they when that woman in New York had gasoline poured on her and died in flames? Where was the outcry? Hell, you want to get to current events? Where's the outcry for the people of Iran? They protested on campuses for Gaza. But where are they for the young people in Iran that have been killed in the thousands? I'll give you a little history lesson about Dr. King when we come back.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. The nationwide protests challenging Iran's theocracy appear increasingly smothered a week after authorities shut the country off from the world and escalated a bloody crackdown that activists say has killed at least 2,637 people. The prospect of U.S. retaliation for the deaths of protesters hung over the region, though President Trump signaled a possible de-escalation, saying the killing appeared to be ending. Federal immigration agents deployed to Minneapolis have used aggressive crowd control tactics, including pointing rifles at demonstrators and deploying chemical irritants, actions the government says are necessary to protect officers from violent attacks and growing protests. On Wall Street, the Dow by 292 points. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. A man was murdered last night about 11 at a house on Rosalia Drive, says Bakersfield PD. When they got to the scene, they found the man shot to death in a driveway. They have not released his name, they have not discussed a motive, and they have not announced any arrests. A not guilty plea was entered in court Wednesday by Jonathan Fraze, the man accused of shooting John Duvall Jr. to death in the early morning hours of January 2nd in Oildale. Fraze is expected back in court next month. The smell of natural gas is the reason night court for Kern County Superior Court was canceled last night. PG&E says the leak was at a house near the courthouse. All cases from Wednesday night are continued. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
It's that man again, Ralph Bailey for Sangera Subaru. It's a new year, so why not get into the new Subaru that you put off in 2025? And just because it's a new year doesn't mean the guys over at Sangera Subaru have slowed down. So if an SUV is what you've been leaning towards, then how about leasing a 2025 Outback Premium CVT for only $229 a month for 36 months and just $4,800 due at signing? Let me say that again. $229 a month for a brand new Outback. And the offer ends February 2nd, so stop by and see my good friends Damon Culbertson and Cy Levy. Pick out your new Outback and hit the road. And remember, every Subaru comes standard with symmetrical all-wheel drive. Sangera Subaru, paving the way for a better community. 5500 Gasoline Alley Drive in the Bakersfield Auto Mall.
Through February 2nd, 2026, lease 2025 Outback Premium CVT model code SDG-13 for $229 a month for 6 months. $4,800 due at lease signing plus tax and license. Security deposit 10,000 mile year limit, 15 cents per mile overage. MSRP $36,506. VIN number S3333175. Financing for well-qualified buyers only. Subject to credit approval. Offer ends 2/2/26.
We've all been there.
Buzz,
Sleepless
buzz, buzz.
nights, wondering if your business's security service is really protecting what matters. At Bay Alarm, we can put your security insecurities to bed. Our advanced technology and personalized support ensure you can rest easy knowing we're here for you. BayAlarm.com.
Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Friday edition of the First Look program, we got a special playoff edition of Football Pick. We got the latest on the whole Kathy Andor-Zach Scribner fiasco, the latest on our Venezuelan oil coup, traffic, weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You can tell the future's looking bright.
Oh, come on. Stop the music. You got to give me something soulful. You got to give me something, in short, black. Give me something black. Give me Mahalia Jackson.
You'll give you what?
That's the funniest thing you ever said. Give me what? Man. I'm sorry. I've been smoking weed all day. No, I'm kidding. Mahalia, Mahalia Jackson. Give me anything. Give me anything, Mahalia Jackson. Anything. Can't start off a half-hour biography of Dr. King with some random Caucasian group. I would
the Monkeys.
I would go. That's okay. I would go with Sam Cooke. We go with Sam Cooke all the time. That's what I'm talking about. Let's have some church up in here today. Yes, Lord. Amen. I miss the Baptist church. She plays a role in my biography, as a matter of fact, as some of you may know. No, I'm kidding. Most of you don't know. But she was on the stage. She was at the mall in front of Dr. Let's try to start again. Bailey, take two, Dr. King. She was at the mall in front of President Lincoln when the Dr. King gave his I Have a Dream speech. And in fact, it was Mahalia Jackson who screamed, I have a dream. That was not the title of the speech. He was inspired by her, as in church, as they do in a Baptist church, kind of preach on the preacher or the pastor. Let's say, preach on, pastor. Break it down, preach. Tell him I have a dream. Tell him about the dream, Dr. King. And that's how he went into it. But we begin with his childhood. His father was let me start again. On his maternal mother's side, her father was a Baptist preacher. So Dr. King's grandfather was a preacher. His father was a preacher and a Morehouse graduate and took over for his father-in-law's church, Ebenezer Baptist Church, at the early part of the century. King was born on this day in 1929. So it was roughly the 1930s when Papa King, or Daddy King as he was known in Atlanta. And what you really should know is before King got extremely internationally known right around the late 50s and the 1960s, after the 1955 bus boycott, his father was the superstar. His father took over his father-in-law's church, Ebenezer Baptist in Atlanta, and took it from a tiny little church to the most populous and most popular church in Atlanta. And he was an absolute superstar. And that's where Dr. King got much of his cojones, his balls, his temerity. He witnessed his father standing up to white men as he was growing up. There was a famous incident where they got pulled over by the police, and the police kept calling his dad a boy. And he said, "This young man in the passenger seat is a boy. I'm a grown-ass man." And he almost got the crap beat out of him. But this is what started to instigate the character of Dr. King. And he grew up, as I've always talked about. If you listen to the show with any rapidity, you know that I've always talked about my belief that geniuses, by definition, are peculiar and strange. By simple definition, they're on a different plane than most of us. Maybe there's some geniuses out there listening to me, but they're on a different, they're outside the box. And so by definition, they're weird. And as a kid, Dr. King was a weird child. He was born Michael King Jr., but his dad, as I talked about, was a very famous pastor. And Ebenezer sent him on a multinational trip in which he toured Germany. And he studied under Martin Luther, who at the time was combating the rise, this is, this is early mid-1930s. And so it is the rise of the Third Reich. Hitler comes into power, 34, 35, and really gets rolling right around 36. The war starts in 1939. And in fighting for the Jews, Martin Luther wrote, "This Congress deplores and condemns as a violation of the law of God, the Heavenly Father, all racial animosity and every form of oppression or unfair discrimination toward the Jews, toward colored people, or toward subject races in any part of the world." And Dr. King's father, Daddy King, who was Michael King Sr. at the time, was so enthralled with Martin Luther, he changed his name. He changed his name to Martin Luther King, and thus Martin Luther King Jr. And King was such a weird kid and such a passionate kid that once he had a brother and a sister. And there was a story told in many of his bios where his brother got into a fight with his sister and beat her up. And King got so mad that he took a phone and bopped it over his brother's head and knocked his ass out. I always thought that was funny. And there was another incident where he got into an incident where they were screwing around with his sister, and he accidentally knocked her unconscious, and he thought he had killed her. So he went up to the second floor of the house and jumped off the building trying to commit suicide. And when he came to, they told him his sister had come to. But he was just a weird, passionate kid. And then right around the age of 15 is World War II. And Morehouse College, to be blunt, needed students. So they lowered the entrance level and said, if you're 15 years or older and you can pass the entrance exam, they will accept you at Morehouse College. And obviously, King passed the entrance exam, entered Morehouse College, my father's alma mater as well, and where I attended for 4 years, but did not graduate. He graduated in 1948, and with a sociology degree. He then went on to study at Crozier Theological Seminary in Pennsylvania, where he was the student body president. And right about this is when the leadership thing kind of kicked in. This is when young adult friends of King's said he began to understand who he was and what he was capable of doing. And here's an interesting fact. I told you I would tell you a couple of things that you probably didn't know. In his third year at Crozier, he met a young woman by the name of Betty Moitz, who friends forever would say it was the love of his life. What was, Chris Burdick, extraordinary about his love affair with Betty Moitz?
It wasn't someone close to him?
No, take one more guess.
It was someone within the congregation.
She was white.
Oh.
She was white.
Interesting.
She was the daughter of the cook in the cafeteria. And they conducted this affair kind of on the sly, obviously, for a little while, but then it became extremely obvious and very well known. and absolutely unheard of. In fact, illegal at the time. I'm not sure if it was illegal in Pennsylvania, but it was certainly illegal in Georgia. You can bet on that, and every other southern state for that matter. His father literally was told about it by friends and came up to Pennsylvania and told him, you've lost your mind. And other friends told him, you couldn't possibly have a career as a pastor with a white wife. It just wasn't going to go. And forever, friends, Ralph Abernathy, his closest friends, always said he loved Coretta Scott King to death, but that Betty Moyes was the love of his life and the woman that got away. He got his Bachelor of Divinity in 1951, systematic theology at Boston University, which then becomes really interesting. He's 25 years old now, and in 1981, they started investigating some of his papers while he was at Boston University, and it was determined that his dissertation that got him his PhD, some of it had been plagiarized. And that's something that had not been known until the early 90s. It's something that I was aware about when I was in college. I'd heard my father make reference to it. And I've often told the story. When I first went to Morehouse, my father always told me, because I had problems with my senior thesis at Brentwood High School, where I literally almost didn't graduate from high school. And my father would joke, don't mess around with Morehouse, because you ain't getting out of there unless you do that senior thesis. And I started planning my senior thesis when I was a freshman, because I had heard so much about Dr. King in our house. And I had heard about the plagiarism. I had heard about him sleeping with the parishioners as a high school kid. So I thought I was going to Morehouse College with information that most of my fellow students didn't even know about. And I found out that that was the truth. And I was dead set on writing this kind of inflammatory, attacking thesis on Dr. King, primarily because I thought I knew information that nobody had, which obviously would lead to kind of a journalism character and my career. And secondly, just because I knew it was inflammatory and that it would draw attention, and perhaps maybe the Atlanta Constitution Journal would grab it or somebody would publish it. You know, I was a young kid thinking crazy. And then I started to investigate, and I found out that, in fact, scholars had determined that, yes, he had plagiarized, but they had written that they would allow it because it still had an intelligent contribution to scholarship, that he simply didn't attribute some of the things that he did. So in other words, he didn't footnote and attribute some of the comments that he made, but they thought it was such an overwhelming paper that they allowed it and did not take away his PhD. Let's go ahead and take a quick break. I hope I have not bored you, because when we come back, this will really get up on its feet, because you will hear from Dr. King. You will hear his 1963 speech, or a portion of it, his I Have a Dream speech, and then what I consider the greatest speech that he ever gave, the prophetic speech the night before he died. I'll tell you the story surrounding why he went to that church that night, why he was in Memphis, and his death on the second floor of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee, April 4th, 1968. You're listening on the birth date of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., The Ralph Bailey Show, on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN, where we stream live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Friday edition Clay Travis Buck Sexton Show. We will break down the ongoing drama in Iran, also what in the world is happening in Minneapolis, and the continued fallout in Venezuela. It has been an absolutely bonkers news week and couple of weeks, and we will put the cap on it. Friday edition, you won't want to miss it. Come hang with us on Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Attention, Medicare beneficiaries in Kern County. If you're eligible for Medicare and looking for a doctor who listens and cares about you with minimal wait times and prompt referral authorizations, it's time you learned about QualCare IPA. You know, for years, I've been telling you QualCare IPA contracts with most Medicare Advantage health plans and provides you with access to a large network of outstanding doctors and quality hospitals right here in Kern County. Medicare Advantage health plans go beyond original Medicare benefits coverage, and understanding these coverage differences may be confusing. Call us today at 661-554-4544 and let us help you understand your options for 2026. Call today, 661-554-4544. That's 661-554-4544. Get the information you need and the coverage you deserve. For accommodations of persons with special needs and meetings, call 661-554-4544, TTY 711.
Meet Paul Sheldon's client, Vance Furtado.
Hi, my name is Vance Furtado, and I saw Paul Sheldon's advertising, and my wife and I were going to need to begin Medicare very soon, and we thought he would be a great guy to talk to. And we were not disappointed. He and his staff were excellent. They provided much needed guidance for us, and we would recommend Paul Sheldon and his agency to anyone desiring help when it comes to figuring out the confusing world of Medicare. Medicare can be so terribly confusing. That's why my wife and I were so glad that we went to Paul Sheldon. He and his staff were incredibly helpful to us. So I would recommend Paul and his agency to anyone. Thank you, Paul, for all the help that you provided, giving us an excellent sense and direction of how best to satisfy our needs when it comes to Medicare.
When Medicare matters, our team has the answers. Team Paul Sheldon.
398-2298.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
No one can beat us, no one can touch us. You won't find better prices. Shop and compare, we don't care. Take a look our way and come into Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
Pet stains on your carpet? Carpet Outlet Plus has everything you need to make your floors pet-proof. With over 100 in-stock waterproof floors, Carpet Outlet Plus can solve your pet problems for good. We also stock over 50 colors of pet-perfect carpet. Call, click, or come by today for your free in-home estimate. Don't forget, for the do-it-yourselfer, we also offer free next-day delivery on all qualifying stock floors. And as a bonus, go to carpetoutletplus.com and apply for 12 months no-interest financing. Carpet Outlet Plus, 3.5 blocks west of 99 on Rosedale Highway.
Carpet Outlet Plus. Every day is sale day.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I keep reaching to be free. Moving on. Moving on.
We're moving on through the life and times of Dr. King. When we last found Dr. King was around 1952. He was in Boston University getting his PhD at BU, where he met a young woman by the name of Coretta Scott. They fell in love. They were married in the front yard of her parents' home in Heilberger, Alabama. They had 4 children, Yolanda, who passed away in 2007, Martin Luther King III, who is still alive and is 70 years old, Dexter King, who I went to school with at Morehouse, who died back in 2 years ago in 2024. I think he was 61. I've told the story. It's an embarrassing, humiliating story about how I went to jail when I was at Morehouse College. I was meeting a young girl for dinner, and I had blown her off like twice, and this was like my last chance. And I was running late, and I double parked in front of the restaurant. I ran inside. She was waiting at the hostess table, mad as hell. And I said, go get us a table. I'm sorry, but I got to go park. She said, fine. I jumped back in my car. I went around the corner, and I was at a stoplight with a cop. And I rolled down my window, and I said, is there underground parking? It was a Friday night in downtown Atlanta. She said, go through the next 2 signals and make a left. I went through the first signal with her, and I went through the second signal. It was yellow. She pulled me over and said it was red. So now I'm 15 minutes late for the date. So now I'm going to be 45 minutes late. This girl's going to leave me, and I get out of my car and I'm screaming at the cop. I'm 19 years old. I'm an idiot. And I'm screaming at this cop. And she's just writing the ticket. And I'm screaming at her. And I will never forget this. I said, you know what your problem is? You got a chip on your shoulder because you're a woman cop. And she said, we need to be patty-wagging. I've got one. I think she charged me with not obstruction justice, but acting. What is it when you act stupid? Whatever. She charged me with something. What is it? Turn your mic on. What is it called?
What are we asking here?
Oh, forget it. And she threw me in the hoosgow. She absolutely threw me in the hoosgow. And Dexter King was working as a guard. And I'm there and, dressed like, Will Smith on whatever that show was called. The Will Smith show. Or just like Carlton Banks. Yeah, it was just like Carlton Banks. And Dexter saw me in the holding tank and would call me out and just really helped me. And it was weird because I was extremely critical of him, absolutely critical of him, because he was a DJ at Morehouse College. And I was like, you're the son of Martin Luther King Jr., and you're a DJ? You're not the student body president? You're not leading the revolt against apartheid? You're a freaking DJ? And here I used to talk crap about this guy, and he didn't save my life, but he made what was the worst 12 hours of my life at the time pretty amenable. And yet he died young. And the thing that frustrated me is like Martin Luther III was always overweight and balded early and just never had the charisma that his father had. But Dexter was a pretty boy. He was oddly 6'1" because his dad was like 5'9". He had a little tiny little mustache and he was charismatic. And I was just like, kind of what a waste. What a waste. And then again, as I've talked about, Dr. King was inspired by Jackie Robinson. Jackie Robinson entered baseball April 15th, 1947. And that's what really kicked in Dr. King's desire to do something. And it began at his first job as a pastor at the Dexter Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. Hence him naming his son Dexter after his first pastor job in Birmingham. And they had the situation with Claudette Colvin, what we were just talking about earlier in the week, who was actually the first Black woman to refuse to take the seat in the back of the bus. But she was 15 years old. She was pregnant. She was not married. She would not have stood up to the national press. So they got the little kindly NAACP secretary, Rosa Parks, to do the same. And that was the beginning of the bus boycott. It lasted for 384 days. And it wasn't until finally they appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court, in a decision called Broder versus Gale, made segregation in Montgomery, Alabama illegal. That was the beginning of the civil rights movement. That was the beginning of Dr. King. And of course, I'm running out of time. We've got to slip forward to 1963, where he led the March on Washington and gave what is considered his most famous speech, his I Have a Dream.
I have a dream that my poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. I have a dream today. I have a dream that one day.
That's where it ends? Oh, that's horrible. I didn't listen to it all. Oh, I should have listened to it all. That's crazy. I thought they would at least get to the end. Well, I have always said I don't think that was his greatest speech. It was his most monumental. It was a game changer. The Kennedy administration watched this, and as Bobby Kennedy later wrote, it absolutely changed John's mind and the administration's mind on how to handle civil rights. It, in fact, I think was one of the reasons that the Kennedys defended Black students getting into the University of Alabama, where George Wallace literally stood in front of the door. But the greatest speech that Dr. King ever gave in his life, it It was a rainy, rainy night in Memphis. They had returned to Memphis because the first march in support of sanitation workers in Memphis absolutely failed. It got out of control. So King came back a second time. It was the night before they were going to address this whole matter. And King was back at his place, and they had already gathered at this church where King was not supposed to speak, but they thought he was. Andrew Young ran back to the hotel and said, "You've got to come. You've got to come." He says, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm not supposed to speak tonight." He said, "They're standing in the rain, Dr. King. They're standing in the rain trying to get in this church to see you. It's standing room only." He got up and gave this prophetic speech where he would be shot some 8 years later, and I don't think this is a coincidence.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. If I lived in China or even Russia or any totalitarian country, maybe I could understand some of these illegal injunctions. Maybe I could understand the denial of certain basic First Amendment privileges because they haven't committed themselves to that over there. But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest for right. And so just as I say we aren't going to let any dogs or water hoses turn us around, we aren't going to let any injunction turn us around. Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
And Customs Enforcement officers in Minneapolis. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says ICE agents continue to do their work in Minneapolis despite the ongoing protests.
Our ICE agents are following the law and running their operations according to plan. Last night what we saw was 3 individuals who weaponized shovels and brooms and attacked an ICE officer that had to defend himself.
Yesterday, a federal officer in the city defensively shot and wounded a man who had attacked the officer with a shovel and broom handle. Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, lawmakers in her country should approve reforms to the oil industry that would open the doors to greater foreign investment. The remarks were made Thursday during her first State of the Union speech. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 292 points, the NASDAQ rose 58, the S&P advanced 17. More at townhall.com.
We've driven it. We've owned it.
Sweet Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, And there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-909-4747. 800-909-4747. 800-909-4747. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
How Night Court came to be canceled. I'm Chris Davis. No, not the TV show, but the actual Kern County Superior Night Court Wednesday night. It was the strong smell of natural gas that was causing some people to be concerned. PG&E says the gas leak was not at the court, but was actually at a house on Mohawk, which is close to the court building. It was decided that court would be scrapped for the night, and all cases are continued with new dates to be set. Meanwhile, it was in court Wednesday morning that 33-year-old Jonathan Fraze pleaded not guilty to the January 2nd killing of 40-year-old John Duvall Jr., which happened in the early morning hours on East Warren Avenue in Oildale. Kern County deputies arrested Fraze the next week, but still haven't discussed a motive for the killing. Fraze is also facing a charge of stalking in a separate case. A murder on Rosalia Drive. That happened about 11 o'clock last night, says Bakersfield PD. When they got to the scene, they found a man dead in the driveway of a house there and say he had been shot. A short while later, cops were looking for two people who they say were headed east on Rosalia when they were last seen, but they did not provide any descriptions. The name of the man killed has not been released, and that is expected later from the Kern County Coroner's Office. A man who was on the lam in Mexico for more than a decade will soon be facing justice in the 2011 crash that killed Kern High School District Police Chief Steve Alvidrez. 38-year-old David Lopez Lilly pleaded no contest to second-degree murder and is expected to get 15 years to life when he's sentenced next month. Alvidrez was killed when Lilly's car slammed into his motorcycle on Highway 99 south of Delano. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think this is the army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get up close like this. Bing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you make the call. You understand me? You hear me? Call from an outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Hour 2 of the broadcast on this Thursday, King Day, the actual date of his birth. We celebrated on Monday. Dr. King was born on this date, 1929, and passed away April 4th, 1968. Daniel Petrie joins us at the bottom of the hour. Coming up at the 5, we'll talk about a UCLA DEI director who was fired for comments made about Charlie Kirk. And we'll preview the playoffs before we talk with our man Brandon Lang tomorrow. I'm assuming, Mr. Burdick, we're talking with Brandon Lang tomorrow. We both assume we are, but you weren't here last Friday. He blew us. He wasn't with us. We didn't have him last Friday. We called him. He didn't call. We called. He didn't answer. Do we not use him during the playoffs?
Usually do.
I thought we did. I thought we'd get him all the way to the Super Bowl.
That was because normally we'd be talking about handicap bets and stuff like that for Super Bowl.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Which is weird because the dude called us from his honeymoon, but blew us off last week. Called us from Italy, but couldn't make it last week. So we'll preview the playoffs for you, give you some start times and networks because the games are on 3 different networks. And talk about probably by the time we get to it at 5:30, it might be finalized that John Harbaugh is the new New York Giants football head coach. In the meantime, it is a Thursday. Time to bring in the executive director of the Current Tax Association, Michael Turnipseed. What's really going on?
Just another day in Bakersfield.
Just another manic Thursday. Now, come on. Manic Monday, actually, is how the song goes, but to Thursday. There's got to be something going on, Michael. I don't want to talk about Minneapolis. I don't want to talk about Scrivener. Come on, give us something to talk about.
You want to talk about sewer water?
Not really. No. I've been ignoring that as well.
Oh, Ralph, it is
so convoluted and ridiculous.
Well, yeah, it is, because one thing that we do pretty well is do financial analysis, and as it came out thinking that people were going to stand up for a 300% raise in their sewer rates, and they passed it. Didn't
Yeah.
And somebody, there used to be a saying: if somebody writes a letter to somebody, there's 1,000 people who don't.
Right.
So
You're right. Television networks take letters very seriously.
Yes, there's a ratio, but it's like 1,000.
Yeah.
So I heard the city got 2,000 letters.
Really?
2,000 times 1,000, 200 letters. So anyway, it comes out to be 200,000, whatever it was.
Right.
They got the number. It was crazy. And I'm going, if you do that multiplier, you're going, huh? It was a lot. It was like,
you can go up to the supervisors where their thing up there, the
fifth floor.
Yeah, and go through those letters.
Oh yeah, I've done it.
I've done it too. I used to do it as a reporter to try to get story ideas.
And they're right there. You come out the elevator, the clerk's right there. What do you want to see?
Yep.
And they listen to the agenda. I want to see this letter, this letter, this letter. Okay.
The favorite story that I got out of that was the woman who was complaining about her neighbor that had a pig in her backyard. And I actually did a TV story about that.
Well, I know we have chickens. I didn't know we had pigs now, too.
What do you think she named the pig?
Ethel.
What do you think, Chris?
Babe.
Arnold.
Dang it. Arnold.
He doesn't remember Green Acres. Don't you remember Arnold on Green Acres?
Ralph.
The talking pig.
How many years ago was that?
1960s.
Yeah.
But this was in the 90s. It wasn't that long ago then.
It's like 60 years ago.
Everybody in the 90s remember Green Acres.
Green Acres is the
Place to be. Farm living is the life for me. Land spread out so far and wide. Just give me that countryside. New York is where I'd rather stay. I just adore, whatever. Okay, forget it. Sorry.
It was
Eddie Albert and Ava Gabor. Not Jaja, but Ava, who I always thought was more attractive.
Wow.
And who ended up being the
songs that long ago, and I can't remember what I had for breakfast.
Exactly. I can't tell you what I had for lunch today. Ava ended up being the beard for Merv Griffin, whose son Tony I played baseball with in high school.
Oh.
Because Mr. Griffin was patently homosexual. But back in the 70s, you had to have a beard. And Ava acted as his beard. She was his date for all the things that he did after he divorced Tony's mom.
Wow.
For obvious
You're
reasons.
Just full of information today.
Well, I went to high school with the kid.
Yeah.
He was a good athlete. Weird guy. We didn't know what bipolar was back then, but he was bipolar as hell. You could be Tony's best friend one day, and the next day he'd want to beat you up. He was a weird kid, but a pretty good athlete. He was our pitcher, our tight end, and the center on our basketball team.
That's good.
Just a little side information.
So what's he doing now?
He was an actor for a while, and I just noticed he inherited. He was the only child. I think he was adopted, but he inherited all of his. He's worth like $250 million.
Some of those actors from back then, they are worth a lot.
Well, you know how Merv made his money was Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. He came up with the Jeopardy theme song, and he created Wheel of Fortune. The story goes he was having lunch at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, which he would later purchase, and he was playing Hangman on a cocktail napkin. And a buddy of his said, that'd make a great game show. That's the story that I've always heard. And that's how Wheel of Fortune began.
And TV was TV.
Yeah.
And you have people watch the same game show. Game shows are were very popular. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah. In the 70s and the 80s, game shows were,
look at the Wheel of Fortune. It's still
alive.
around for 100
Still alive.
years.
Hollywood Squares is still hanging around a little bit. Match Game is still alive. It's crazy. You know why? There's not an original idea in Hollywood. Just let's do reality shows and game shows and just we don't have to write anything. Stupid.
Well, they don't write anymore because they have AI doing the writing
Yeah,
now.
yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that.
Asking the questions anyway.
Yeah.
Give me the questions.
What else is going on in the community?
Well, the city's got a lot of things going on.
Oh, by the way, congratulations. So I read your letter to the editor.
Yeah, what did you think?
I thought it was well written. I thought you took on a little too much. You were all over the joint, but it was
it was 2026, and I was just going to go into that. They're in the process of doing interviews now for the police chief.
Ooh, really?
And
I saw that, and you speculated that they might go outside the county, and I think you've lost your mind.
There's only 12 applicants, period.
And how many are outside the county?
10.
10 of the 12 are
They're
outside
all
the
out
county?
of state.
Out of state?
There's 10 out of state.
And neither one of them has a chance.
And there's 2 inside.
Have we ever hired an outside police chief?
No, because we did it. We had the charter amendment, and it passed by a few votes. It didn't even pass by that much. But that was something what happened 3 or 4 years ago. We changed the city charter. One of the few times it got changed because you have to vote on it every time you want to change it.
Right.
And so there's 2 insiders.
When did we change the charter?
For police chief, 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And
after they started hiring all those black cops? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
No, what happened though is, if you remember,
That was funny.
There
I
were
thought.
3 candidates, and this was like in 2000, just like 2 weeks before COVID, and one of the candidates, it was all over the news. Film. He's chasing his wife. He got drunk at a bar on California
Oh,
Avenue.
yeah.
Remember him?
VIP.
VIP.
One of my favorite bars.
And so he got eliminated.
Yeah.
And then this other candidate evidently got mad at some rookie cop for saying something in a meeting, and he decked him. He got kicked out. So there was only one person left, Mr. Terry.
Is that how he got hired?
He was the only candidate left.
I was not
And
aware
it
of that.
happened the first week that Clegg was here. They had to make a decision because they'd lost the candidates. You either take this guy or we start all over again. And so
Who makes the call?
City manager.
Just solely.
He hires everybody.
Does it need city
Police
council
chief?
approval?
No.
Really?
No. The city council hires the city manager. The city manager
has carte blanche.
Well, he runs everything else.
I did not know that.
But he also has to keep the council happy, or he's gone.
He's an outsider. We might get an outsider from an outsider.
We'll see.
Particularly if
But
10 of
the
the 12
idea,
are outside of the state.
Just reading around, usually like the last Fresno go around, they had like 47 applicants.
Yeah.
We get 12.
Yeah.
So what is the problem? I mean, so obviously.
Well, they're bigger than we are.
A little bit. They're
A
like,
lot.
we're 9 and they're like 7.
Yeah.
I mean, they're probably 80, 90, or 100,000. They have the same problem we do. They have a lot of county islands.
Right.
We have, 25% of Bakersfield is county.
25% of Bakersfield?
Oh yeah, at least. You got oil there. There's over 100. I think 125,000. So it's about 20%.
Do we know who the two local candidates are? Do you remember their names?
Well, one that I know is the assistant chief, Mr. Granton.
Yeah.
He's one. And then there's another one of his lieutenants. You have to be at least a captain or above to
Right.
apply. So, but I don't know who that person
Well,
is.
then my money's on the assistant chief. Wouldn't that be a
everybody?
spit in his face for them to go outside and not go with the heir apparent?
Well, it's a pool. I mean, theoretically, we had that Department of Justice stuff we're going through. It's been for years. I think it's been since Clegg's been here. They had State Department of Justice, and I don't know if the feds were involved in that or not. There were some things that needed to be cleaned up. So it's been, it's kind of hush hush.
Yeah.
But both the city and the county had issues. The county had some issues too, especially at the jail.
Yeah.
So these things kind of happen.
What is the state of the BPD in your opinion?
I'm sorry?
The state of the BPD. Give them a letter grade.
Well, being police is tough, but I think the problem that I get is it's like everybody in the city that everything is great. And, I asked Clegg for the real numbers. I sent him an email this week because Fresno homicide rate dropped over half. And they listed all the different criminal. It was an article in the newspaper in Fresno, and it had how much crime is really down. Sacramento's crime's down. Oakland's crime is even significantly down. San Francisco over last year because for whatever reason, crime's down nationwide.
Yeah, but
so I want to know what are we better than that, or are we not better than that? Just because you maybe reduce it 25%. But if it's down 40% everywhere else, are we keeping up in what we're doing? And that's what I'm trying to find out.
But aren't those numbers spiked based on the idea that COVID and post-COVID crime stats went out the roof?
And
so we basically went back to normal, but because of the massive spike in COVID in 21, normal seems like a drop. You see what I'm saying? Like, in other words, if normal is 40% and we jumped to 70% through COVID, and now we've dropped back down to normal to 40%, well, that's a drop of 30, but we're right back where we started from.
Actually, we were a little bit less than 19.
Yeah.
Oh, Fresno was. I don't know about Bakersfield, but I, try to get the information.
So it is a genuine drop in crime, you think?
Oakland had like almost 60% drop.
Wow.
Oakland.
That's crazy.
Oakland.
Yeah. Which drove out every sporting team in the city, literally.
Well, they were always the stepchild next to San Francisco.
And the Warriors moved to San Francisco, and the A's are building a stadium in Las Vegas, and the Raiders moved to Vegas. Yeah, which I thought would never ever happen, but
it's all about money.
Yeah, it is.
But when you watch the games, they have a very high visitors like the visiting teams like to travel.
Well, of course, who doesn't want to go to Vegas?
It's not just Vegas though. When and the 49ers, that I saw a study, they have more people travel than any other team.
Yeah.
And in Philadelphia last week, some of them weren't allowed in the stadium.
Well, because the 49ers have a very affluent fan base. And can afford to do that. You see what I'm saying?
Well, you're in LA at SoFi. LA's got enough money that they can fill. SoFi's only 60,000 seats.
Yeah.
So when the crowd when they played the Rams in LA was like,
it was like
50,
half and half.
It was over half. It was like 53.4% 49er ticket holders.
That's crazy.
And they were in Philadelphia. They travel. They plan their trips, and there's a group that thousands of people that go on the road to they go to Seattle. Same thing.
Did you see the Philly fans, Chris? You see the Philly fans throwing bottles at the 49er fans?
Yeah. Well, that's typical for Philadelphia.
It really is. That's what I was trying to talk with Nick. He wouldn't kind of admit it. Because remember last year they threw snowballs at him. It's like, what is wrong with those people? They like love the whatever you want to call it, the reputation of being
the worst.
The worst.
I thought it used to be
worst.
the Raider Pit.
No.
Used to be the worst place.
No,
It's not
well,
the
it's pretty bad. What is it called? The black, what is it called?
Black hole?
Black hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. But no, they're not as bad as Philly fans.
Do they still have it in Vegas?
Not really. The black hole, no, it's watered down.
That
It
was
ain't
an
the
Oakland
same.
thing.
It ain't. Yeah, I was about to say it ain't the same as Oakland.
And you didn't want to sit close to them.
No, you didn't.
You didn't want to try one.
I went to one Raider game in Oakland, and I ran into a kid smoking crack in the bathroom, and I was like, I ain't never coming back to this place. And they have the trough in the bathroom instead of toilets. That's just disgusting.
Rose Bowl used to be that way.
Dodger Stadium, I think, is still that way, isn't it, Chris? I don't know. I don't sit with
I haven't been there. No, I was there last year and they had the trough.
sit in the high,
They still have the
you're
trough?
in the high end. You sit in the
Yeah,
high
I'm down.
end seats.
Yeah.
You have friends that have those.
That's right. There is literally an individual bathroom in the Dodger Dugout Club. Just saying. Mike Turnipseed, everybody. Quick time out.
Take care.
You as well, sir. Not a lot of time before we get to the bottom of the hour and bring in our man Daniel Petrie.
Yeah, there's literally
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180
there's like a team of bathrooms.
Couple of money matters on the next Armstrong and Getty show. Those wonderful sounding
Right.
charitable
Yeah,
endeavors
right.
your local
But-
government
but-
is involved with. Where does the money actually
But in the
go? We've got a
clubhouse,
great
right
case
past,
study for
there's
you.
like-
And who's
so you
financing all
walk
these protests
in,
around the country?
and the
Who
food's over
talked
here, and all
Trump
the
out of
tables are
attacking
here.
Iran? That
There's a
story is
little-
growing and getting more
Same
interesting.
spot.
Among more news of the day, we'll have for you on the next Armstrong
so
and
you
Getty
know where
show.
the food
Weekdays
is?
noon to 2
Off
on
to the
News
left.
Talk
Off to
96.1
the left of
and
the
AM
food,
1180
there's a little hallway.
KERN.
You know, oddly, one of the things I rarely talk about when I talk about Casey Steakhouse is lunch. If you work downtown, if you work for the county or wherever
No,
on
it's
Truxton,
downstairs.
it's not very far and it's real
downstairs.
quick and it's very convenient. And the menu is similar, just smaller portions, and it is outstanding. And the variety on the menu
Oh, you
that
mean
Chef
up in
Daniel's
right
put
field?
together now is simply unbelievable.
No, it's in right field.
Mostly a large
That's what you're
groups
talking about.
that come to Casey Steakhouse. Not everybody's feeling red meat to celebrate someone's birthday
right
or an
field.
anniversary
First
or
place
whatever
is
the
right
event may
field,
be. And that's why Chef Daniel has advanced the menu. So there's Italian
that-
food.
Yeah,
I love
that's
the
the- no,
fettuccine
I'm not talking
Alfredo
about
with
that.
chicken.
I'm talking about
The
stadium
lobster
club
mac
behind
and
home
cheese
plate.
is everybody's favorite. The fish dishes, the mahi-mahi, the
It's
swordfish, the
600
halibut. Where would you rather
TC,
be than on
but
F
next
Street?
season it's
And
gonna be
don't forget
1100.
about the Stockyard
It's gonna be
next door for meetings,
currently-
banquets,
this
or
past
just
season,
having dinner
there was-
and having some of the craft cocktails that are served next
They
door.
serve 'em
It's
as a
Casey
package.
Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey Show.
It's 2026. New year, new you, new resolutions to keep for a couple weeks.
24.
Whether you're trying to eat healthy in the new year or not, your best choice is Omaha Steaks. They have multiple bundles to choose from. They have an all-protein pack if you're trying to
I'm talking
slim
about
down or
4
eat
seats
clean,
in my
consisting
class.
of butcher's cut
There's
filet
a couple
mignon, air-chilled boneless chicken breast, boneless pork
600
chops,
a seat
classic burgers, and more.
for 4,
Everything you need for your freezer and meal
2400
prep. Or grab one of the other bundles that
80,
include potatoes au gratin and caramel apple tartlets. That sounds good. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety, and every bite is backed by the 100% guarantee. Every steak is perfectly aged to maximize tenderness and hand cut by master butchers in America's heartland. Save big on gourmet gifts and more holiday favorites with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com and for an extra $35 off, use promo code SKY at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. That's omahasteaks.com, promo code SKY.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
Don't know about
We playing Saturday? There it is.
812-537-6812-KR. We got a couple of minutes before Mr. Petrie gets in here. Let's get 2 text messages in if we can.
Let's see. Oh, and to the texter that's talking about the spammer in the chat room, I will take care of that here.
Why? What's going on? Is there a problem in the chat room?
Not necessarily a problem. They're just saying there's a spammer in there. It looks like somebody probably trying to push their own product within this chat room. But we'll figure that out.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thanks for letting us know about that. I need to pay more attention to the chat room. I really do. One more.
Ralph, do you remember what incident caused Hitler to take Germany civil liberties away? A tragic incident, the Reichstag building fire, which Hitler caused himself to take complete power with no checks to his power.
Okay. Thanks for the history lesson. I don't know what that was tied to, but okay. One more.
Let's see. The reporter was Irish, Ralph.
Oh, was he really?
I couldn't tell. I couldn't really make out the accent.
I couldn't
to be
either.
honest. Wouldn't surprise me, though.
Yeah. She called him a journalistic hack. I don't think I've ever heard that from the podium, but one more.
Ralph, no one wants to hear your lectures about protesters should treat, or how protesters should treat the police. We all watched Trump supporters attack the police on January 6th.
You know, that's
with
enough.
American
That's
flags.
enough. If you don't want to hear it, turn the channel. Don't tell me what to talk about. Don't tell me what to say. Been doing this for 22 years. If you don't like it, turn the channel. That's all you have to do. You don't have to write us and complain. All you have to do is push a button. One more, Mr. Burdick.
Clayton Kershaw will return to pitch in the World Baseball Classic.
I saw that. I'm not sure how I feel about that.
What? No, let him go out with like a hero with the rest of America.
Dude, they're gonna light him up.
And well, we don't need him that much.
Did you see it when he took his shirt off at
He'll play
Game
less.
7?
He'll play less for this team than he did in the World Series. He don't need to play at all.
True that. True that. Yeah, that'd be nice if they just had him on the team.
Exactly. He walks away with essentially what do we get for this?
Yeah,
Really?
I don't know. Have we ever won it?
That's a good question.
Didn't Shohei in Japan win it last year?
Yeah, they've been dominant the last couple of years, along with Dominican.
And I hear Yoshi and Shohei are playing. I don't know how I feel about that. Quick timeout. It's a Thursday. Our money man, Daniel Petrie, is next.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Not too early. With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado met with U.S. President Donald Trump, presenting him with a Nobel Peace Prize medal and praising his support for Venezuelan democracy, even as Mr. Trump has willingness to work with the country's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez. The nationwide protests challenging Iran's theocracy appear increasingly smothered. A week after authorities shut the country off from the world and escalated a bloody crackdown that activists say has killed at least 2,637 people. The prospect of U.S. retaliation for the deaths of protesters hung over the region, though President Trump signaled a possible de-escalation, saying the killing appeared to be ending. More details available at srnnews.com.
I did do a little sermon.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Justice for Kern High School District Police Chief Steve Alvedrez. The man accused in that crash that killed Alvedrez near Delano in 2011 was caught last year in Mexico and has now pleaded no contest to second-degree murder. 38-year-old David Lopez Lilly is expected to get a 15-year to life sentence when he's sentenced next month. Night court for Kern County Superior Court was canceled last night, and all cases continued because of the smell of natural gas. PG&E says that was coming from a leak at a nearby house. Adrian Olmos was sworn in Wednesday as McFarland's new police chief and says his hope is to continue to build trust with the community. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS. Ethos.com/Mike.
Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Friday edition of the First Look program, we got a special playoff edition of Football Pick. We got the latest on the whole Kathy Andor-Zach Scribner fiasco, the latest on our Venezuelan oil coup, traffic, weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. The Armstrong and Getty Show, weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
It's a Thursday. Time to end the 21st and Oak offices of Messmaker and Petrie Wealth Advisors, bringing in our good friend Daniel Petrie. How are you, sir?
What's really going on, Ralph?
You tell me, sir. Are you a Pats fan, being the Boston fan that you are?
I am a Patriots fan. I'm
Are you?
sorry.
Why do you have to? You don't have to apologize.
Well, I have to apologize because Raiders fans, don't like us much.
Well,
Because
no,
we
you
have
used
tough
us.
rule.
Yes, you used us to start the dynasty. And if there was justice,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm telling you.
I'm very thankful to Raiders and their fans.
You should be. Because if there was justice and that rule wasn't in effect, had we won that game, Bill Belichick would have got whacked at the end of the season.
Oh.
And that whole dynasty would have never got off the ground. Because people forget he was an absolute flop at Cleveland. They barely got into the playoffs, and he was on the hot seat. And had he lost that game, it would have been very likely he would have got whacked, and that dynasty never begins.
So it sounds like you believe that Brady made Belichick.
Oh, no question.
Okay.
I mean, Belichick is a great coach. There's
I
no
get it
question.
both ways. I mean, he was a very good defensive.
Yes, he was a
strategist.
defensive genius. Lawrence Taylor has always maintained that he started as a special teams coach. In fact, Lawrence Taylor tells the story that when Parcells promoted Belichick from special teams coach to defensive coordinator, Taylor went into his office and was like, "Have you lost your mind? This tiny little special teams coach?"
Right.
And he said, "You know the defenses we've been using the last 2 years? That kid designed them." And Taylor was like, "My bad. Let me get out of here."
I can imagine that. Like, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He was a genius. Yeah. So, let me not slight him.
Right.
I think his legacy.
Brady, I mean, it was almost like as Brady developed, you're having another coach on the field who could play. And I mean, so you had, it was, I gave them both credit, but I don't know if either could have reached their pinnacles without the other.
Well, I think Brady put the cherry on it in terms of his contribution when he went down there and did the Shaq. How Shaq left the Lakers and went to Orlando and won a championship in Miami.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Brady did when he went to Tampa. When he left and won in Tampa the very first season, it's like, damn, can the dude lose?
Well,
Jesus.
and that's something I don't think he would have been able to do maybe in his first few seasons because he wasn't, while he was good, he wasn't as good as what he became.
Yeah, yeah.
But who knows? I mean, it's always nice to play what if and
what if, what shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, I know. But thanks again, Raiders. That's awesome what you were able to help us accomplish.
Do you think your guy May is going to be the MVP, or are they going to give it to Stafford?
That's hard. I hate individual awards in team sports because it's hard to say,
Especially in football when there are 53 guys that contribute.
Although I love the way he plays. I mean, he does remind me of Brady a little bit.
And I think he's faster than Brady. I think he's a little bit bigger than Brady. People don't realize he's a big kid.
He is. He's
like 6'4".
He doesn't look the part, but when you see him run and shake off a defender, you're like, wait a minute, he's a pretty big guy.
Yeah, he's a big kid. I think he's faster than most people realize, and he throws a sweet ball. He really does. He's very, very accurate.
Yeah, it's gonna. I think we can beat Houston, but I think the next game will be interesting.
You'd play the winner of the Rams Bears, which I believe is going to be the Bears.
No, you mean if we make the Super Bowl?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're in the AFC. You'd play the winner of the Bills.
We'll probably have to play,
Broncos.
I assume Denver, unless.
You think the Broncos are going to beat the Bills?
That could go either way. The Bills. But it's in Denver.
I think Josh Allen's going to play his behind off, and they beat the Broncos.
And that'll do it because he can't. I mean, I don't want to play the Bills a third time, though. I mean, that team scares me.
You'd have home field, wouldn't they?
We
Wouldn't
would.
the Pats have home field over the Bills?
Yes, we would, because we'd be the highest seed remaining.
Yeah, because y'all won the division.
We did.
Yeah.
We beat them and we lost. We split with Buffalo.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So we can beat them, but
didn't we beat you guys?
You did. You beat us early. The Raiders beat the Patriots early.
And you guys weren't that good.
That helped us become a very good playoff team.
Yeah, because you guys weren't that good at that point, so everybody didn't really think much of it.
No, we were 500. We were on our way to becoming 500.
Yeah.
I think
We beat
1 and 3 or 2 and 4 or whatever it was.
If we had beat you at the end of the season, people would have been like, "Holy Toledo!"
You know what happened to us?
But we beat you like what in the first 3 weeks or something.
Yeah, it was early, third or fourth week.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we got to talk about the economy. The president was out there touting the big beautiful bill, and that the ramifications of the big beautiful bill are about to kick in. But you, I'm supposing, remain pessimistic.
I think there can be some benefits of the big beautiful bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am pessimistic longer term. Yeah. Let me tell you this, Mr. Bailey.
Yes.
Silver is above $91.
That's crazy.
Why would silver be at 91 if everything's rosy?
And it was in the 70s last week?
Yeah, it was up 19% from last week. 76.50 is where we had it last Thursday.
I've never seen that.
No.
Have you ever seen that?
Never been as high. No, it's been, once it passed kind of that 50, 55 barrier, it's kind of been marching northward pretty good. And you could say, well, there's geopolitical, but it's been, the conspiracy people out there will say it's been suppressed for a long time, and they have a decent argument. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But it has been undervalued for a long time, and it did not keep pace with gold when gold broke out to its high. And as silver is wont to do, it catches up at the end and moves like a wildfire.
That's insane.
Although I'm not implying that this is the end of the move, although both are probably short-term overbought. I mean, and volatile. I mean, the swings in silver overnight are $2, $3, $4 right now. It's crazy.
Would you continue to buy, or would you jump out?
Very interesting. There's a lot that goes into that question.
Yeah.
But I would be inclined to buy unless I was already had enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And enough is different for everybody. So.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. And still no real direct correlation as to why.
Well, let me ask this: do you hear about it? Do you hear on the hey, why is silver and gold way up? I mean, maybe a mention here and there, but
I know Neil Cavuto has left Fox. He used to talk money on his show. I loved him. He's been replaced by Will Cain, who I can't stand.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's a very, very hard right, very, very mouthpiece for the Trump administration. He's on at 1 o'clock on Fox in the old Neil Cavuto spot. And it's the last thing I watch before I leave the house. And I've actually been starting to watch the chick on CNN because I don't like Will Cain.
I didn't know his name, but I know the face.
Yeah. I don't know why. I just don't like him.
I lump him into the cheerleading camp.
Exactly. That's what it is. Neil Cavuto was more down the middle and would play devil's advocate and would ask interesting questions. And like I said, would often take a portion. He'd bring on the black guy, Charles, the big kind of heavy-set black guy.
I like him too.
Love him. And he would have him on a lot and talk money.
I can't.
Charles. Can you look that for me? Charles, the black guy on Fox.
The Little House on the Prairie.
Charles Ingalls. Charles Bailey. Nick Charles, the fictional character. Charles Payne. Thank you. Charles Payne. Love him. And Cavuto would have him on 2 or 3 times a week just to talk money. Really smart cat.
And I like him because he's pretty normal. I mean, he doesn't talk. I mean, he knows what he's talking about, but he doesn't talk over your head.
Yeah. Does gold ride the coattails of silver or no?
No, silver rides the coattail. Gold moves the sector.
Really?
Silver just kind of it's more volatile because it's more thinly traded.
But gold isn't doing as well as silver, is it?
Well, remember, gold has moved on up and made new highs. It just kind of, as it was marching along, silver was just kind of, nobody really cared. And then all of a sudden, silver's been on a wildfire the past couple months.
So where's gold?
Gold is a little over 4,600.
Wow.
Which is another 3% high. But remember, a year ago, we were talking gold at, oh, goodness.
In the low 30s, maybe? 29?
Gold was 2,600, 2,800 there.
Yeah.
That's a big move.
That is. That really is. I don't know how you guys figure this stuff out. I really don't.
It gets stressful over time, I must say.
Does it really?
Well, I don't think of my job as stressful because in my world, I think of my father, and it's like, well, if you're not digging ditches or doing actual work, your world isn't stressful. And then I have to realize that it's, I may not be digging a ditch or fixing a gas line, but I'm holding people's future in my hands.
Yeah, true.
And I don't just worry that I have to pay bills. I worry that I can't let them down. So
right.
There's a lot of stress there.
I can see that. You've got people's futures and fourth quarter of their lives in your hands.
Yeah, and I would think any job I did I would take serious, but yeah, I take that serious. So
yours is digging ditches. Mine is the guys on the roofs, roof toppers, people that have to do air conditionings and work on roofs and stuff. I'm like, at least I'm not doing
my
that.
dad looking at me. He looks at me dead on serious, and he goes, "Can you dig a ditch?" And I thought, I didn't backtalk my father, but my mind would race sometimes. Like, what is he talking about? Is this a trick question?
Right.
It seems very simple. And so I take my time, 15 or 20 seconds, but I think about it, and I kind of go, yeah. And he goes, then you can get a job. And I'm like, what? My dad, what is his?
You gave the wrong answer. I'd have been like, no, I'm absolutely incapable of digging a ditch.
Well, I could always dig a ditch. But another time I was in college. It was summer, so I had moved back home because I paid my way through college, so it's not like I could, if I could stay at home, I'd save money. Well, I think he got tired of me laying around at home because he goes, I don't know what the deadline was. I want to say he gave me a couple weeks. He said, you got 2 weeks to find a job or I'm gonna charge you rent. And I thought, charge me rent.
How old were you?
Be here in a few weeks. So
how old are you?
I was It was either junior college or Cal State, so I was between 18 to 22.
And he's going to charge you rent?
If I didn't go get a job. But he wouldn't explain. Dad would just say these things. And I knew he was crazy enough to enforce it. But you know what? Within a couple of weeks, I had a job. He just wanted me to go get experience and do something and not lay around and do nothing.
My mom said the same thing, but with school. If I wasn't in college,
Yeah, I was just going to say, the Bailey House rule was if you're not in school or working, you got to leave. In fact, that's the last night I was at home. I came to my parents and told I was going to Cal. I didn't finish in Morehouse after 4 years. I had acquired enough units to almost be a junior in 4 freaking years. It was just an absolute waste of time. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. That's why I didn't go back for a 5th year, because I couldn't even have done it in my 5th year. I'd have been there 6 years, and there was no way I was going to be a 6-year student. That's how stupid I was. Who gives a damn how long it takes? You know what I'm saying? As long as you leave there with your sheepskin. So then when I came home, I went to Cal State Long Beach for a little bit. I did really well, actually, at Cal State Bakersfield. That's where at Long Beach. That's where I learned that I could write. Because I always thought that my professors at Morehouse, it was just different. But to go to a white school and get A's on my writing, I knew I could write, but I just didn't. I hated school, and I went to my parents and just said, I'm not doing this. I think I can become a journalist without a degree. And my father said, well, you're going to have to move out if you don't have it. He said, do you have a job? And I said, no, but I'm pretty sure I can get one. And he said, well, until you do, you're going to have to move out. And unbeknownst to my father, I had already talked to my uncle who was living in Inglewood and had set it up. And I asked him, let me tell Dad. And it's the only time I ever saw my dad absolutely confounded and angry, but he couldn't show that he was angry. But I knew he was angry because he said, I said, well, you can't live here then. And I said, well, I've already taken care of that. And he was like, oh, is that right? And where are you going, big time? And I said, well, I'm moving in with your brother.
Oh, no.
And man, it's the only time I've ever seen that look on his face, smoke coming out of his ears. Yeah. And he just didn't say anything. And we just kind of stood there. And he just kind of walked off. And I stood there and eavesdropped. And of course, his first phone call was my Uncle Irvin. Have you lost your mind? You were going to take shelter of this boy? So now he can't get an education. He's going to end up washing dishes in Inglewood. Yeah. And they went at it. And he was like, what am I supposed to say? No to my nephew? And
it's funny watching. It sounds, when you're saying this, I think about where I learned to read people was watching my father. Because you had to know if they're mad, I would play invisible as best I could.
Damn right. I would leave the room.
Yeah, well, I had a lot of siblings, so it might take Dad 5 minutes to get through the list. So, so by then he might calm down a little bit and not take it out of me. But
how many children in all?
What's that?
How many children in all in the Petrie house?
9 of us.
9 kids.
And I was the youngest, see, so they were tired. And as long as I had it easy because, well, I wouldn't say easy, but school was pretty easy for me. So if I got B pluses and stayed out of bad trouble, it's like I had free reign.
Yeah, that's how my parents approached me, which I think was a mistake. As long as my grades were decent, I could get away with murder.
I think it depends on the child, though, because I didn't really. I mean, if I was pushing it and getting in more trouble, then yeah. But it took me, I think, a little while extra to grow up.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, why not? I'm having fun.
Me too. Yeah. Me too. I matured late. I sure did.
Yeah, I as well.
Yeah. Let me leave you with this, Daniel. No disrespect.
No, none taken ever.
9 children. It's ridiculous. That is just absurd.
How could you do that?
I don't even know how you do that.
I'm second oldest of 7.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, some of them are step, but yeah.
No,
that's absurd.
Ours are all
9 children.
His are all blood. He's got me beat easily.
All blood.
I mean, we had 3 kids, and our house was chaos.
Well, and considering how much a lot of us like our privacy, like we're not extroverted, I just can't imagine because chaos. I don't like chaos. I don't know how I survived.
I don't know how you did it because literally every morning was chaos. Either I was late, Treese was late, Bettina was late. One of us would leave our lunch. It was just every morning was a Chinese fire drill, and that's 3 children. It blows my mind. Blows my mind.
In line pretty well. You didn't,
Yeah, you had some badass parents.
You didn't. Yeah, it was just done.
You had some badass parents. You really did.
Flip side to that, if you get to the dinner table late, you don't get no food.
I was lucky to grow up.
Yeah, did you have to fight for food?
I do not eat slow.
Exactly.
I mean, people will look at me. My wife's family looks at me, and because my father-in-law is a particularly slow eater.
As am I.
And I'll be like, I don't waste my. And they're like, how? And I said, well, listen, if you didn't eat it fast, there was none left. I mean, by the time I would choose what I wanted to eat, my father was handing his plate back for seconds. So he was the master.
I understand. Dad always gets the big piece of chicken.
And I'm like, I don't know if I want to eat this beef stroganoff. My mom, wait, Dad's passing his entire plate back. What the heck? Yeah.
I got to fly, Mr. Petrie. Always great to talk to you, sir.
Likewise.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Have a good weekend.
Talk to you next week.
Bye, guys.
Daniel Petrie, 1 of 9. That's how I'll always remember him. 1 of 9. Absurd. Absolutely absurd. Philip Rivers type stuff. Just crazy. Quick time out. We're coming right back. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and
Adaptive.
Friday edition Clay Travis Buck Sexton show. We will break down the ongoing drama in Iran, also what in the world is happening in Minneapolis, and the continued fallout in Venezuela. It has been an absolutely bonkers news week and couple of weeks, and we will put the cap on it. Friday edition, you won't want to miss it. Come hang with us on Clay and Buck.
Live 9 to noon. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Are you tired of being treated like just another ticket number by your IT company? Well, Adaptive Networks delivers exceptional customer service every single time. And as I always try to remind you, nobody knows that better than the folks here at American General Media because we've partnered up with Adaptive Networks. If you know anything about radio, you know how important how important our IT is. If it goes down, you hear nothing. We're eventually out of business. Real people who know your name at Adaptive Networks, they understand your business and genuinely care about your success. There are no phone trees, no runaround, just honest, friendly service that puts you first. Experience the difference. Call Adaptive Networks at 661-241-0638 or online at adaptive-net.com.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
The Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, live 9 to noon. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You know I wouldn't lie, not much. Kristen said she knocks some bed when she lands in town. Said she came out, it's a shame how she cruising down. Men she can't get to, men she ain't met to. Georgia claimed the Georgia name, that sweet Georgia Brown.
Hey, Charles! Harlem Globetrotter theme song. What are you doing? It's that old school with the horns. Love this stuff. Little saxophone. Ray always had a great band. Saw him once here in Bakersfield. Or did I see him twice? No, I saw Elton John twice. I saw Martin. Got Dr. King on the mind. I saw Ray at the Fox back in the 90s with Roxana Ray, as a matter of fact.
How did Sweet Georgia Brown become the Harlem Globetrotters theme song?
I have no idea.
I was just thinking about that in my head. I was like, a song? Okay.
They were created in the 1930s, long before I was born. I'm not sure, but that was the song. I can remember, which I bet you have never seen in your life. They had a cartoon in the 1970s.
I have seen it, but only because there were crossovers with stuff like Scooby-Doo and other shows I would watch when I was a kid.
Yeah, they would show up. Yep, they absolutely would. And it was the worst.
Was it really?
Absolute worst. But, back then we had 2, 4, and 7 and independent channels, 5, 13, and 11. And that was it. And on a Saturday morning, that's all you did was watch cartoons. And, I didn't like Scooby-Doo. I thought Scooby-Doo was stupid. But I watched it because that's what we watched.
Honestly, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat.
It's just what was on TV. And I guess we liked it. I mean,
when you go back and watch a lot of this stuff that you watched as a kid, though, you realize really how bad it was.
Oh, do you know what I watched that I can't believe that I watched? And I thought it even then. Batman, to me, was the dumbest thing on television, and I watched it every week.
See,
and I watched it every damn week.
That was me with Power Rangers.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I look at it now, it's the dumbest thing in the world.
But now as an adult, I get Batman, some of the innuendos, because Batman was really kind of ahead of its time. But for kids, we couldn't get the little sexual innuendos.
This is AM 1180 KERN, Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM, Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Steve Peters in Washington. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has met with President Donald Trump at the White House to discuss her country's future. Correspondent Bob Agnew reports.
Visiting the president presented something of a risk for Machado, whose whereabouts have been largely unknown since she left her country last year after being briefly detained in Caracas. After a closed-door discussion with Mr. Trump, she greeted dozens of cheering supporters waiting for her near the gates. Mr. Trump has not endorsed her to take over leadership in Venezuela, but Machado told the crowd, quote, "We can count on President Trump." Bob Agnew reporting.
Verizon is apologizing for the massive outage that impacted more than 1.5 million customers.
The nationwide Wednesday outage knocked phones offline and interfered with some 911 calls. Federal and local officials are pointing to a suspected server failure in New Jersey as the company definitively ruled out a cyber attack. The highest reported problem spots were in New York City, Atlanta, Charlotte, North Carolina, Houston, and Brooklyn, New York. Verizon will offer customers impacted by the 7-hour outage a $20 credit.
Correspondent Bill Alexander reporting.
Hornets any good?
President Trump threatens to invoke the Insurrection Act against protesters in Minneapolis after violence broke out following the death of an ICE protester. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem defends the actions of all ICE agents who have been deployed to Minnesota and elsewhere.
Every single action that our ICE officers take is according to the law and following protocols that we have used for years, that this administration has used, that the previous administration used. They're doing everything correctly.
Minneapolis has been on edge since an ICE agent fatally shot Renee Good in the head. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 292 points. More at townhall.com.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for health care. And here's why. This time of year is decision time for a lot of people. But it's also when you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For many families, joining MediShare means saving about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people. More than 1 million people are now part of healthcare sharing because it just makes so much sense, especially right now. And MediShare is the gold standard. Members like it a lot. We know this from member surveys. MediShare has been around for over 30 years. It is a proven thing. And if you join before January 15th and you mention the promo code SHARE, they'll waive your application fee, so you save $100 right off the bat. I'll give you the number here in a second, but just call. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. And again, the deadline is January 15th. So call now. You'll save even more. Here's the number. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
How Night Court came to be canceled. I'm Chris Davis. No, not the TV show, but the actual Kern County Superior Night Court Wednesday night. And it was the strong smell of natural gas that was causing some people to be concerned. PG&E says the gas leak was not at the court, but was actually at a house on Mohawk, which is close to the court building. It was decided that court would be scrapped for the night, and all cases are continued with new dates to be set. Meanwhile, it was in court Wednesday morning that 33-year-old Jonathan Fraze pleaded not guilty to the January 2nd killing of 40-year-old John Duvall Jr., which happened in the early morning hours on East Warren Avenue in Oildale. Kern County deputies arrested Fraze the next week, but still haven't discussed a motive for the killing. Fraze is also facing a charge of stalking in a separate case. A murder on Rosalia Drive. That happened about 11 o'clock last night, says Bakersfield PD. When they got to the scene, they found a man dead in the driveway of a house there and say he had been shot. A short while later, cops were looking for two people who they say were headed east on Rosalia when they were last seen, but they did not provide any descriptions. The name of the man killed has not been released, and that is expected later from the Kern County Coroner's Office.
That's not going to happen.
A man who was on the lam in Mexico for more than a decade will soon be facing justice in the 2011 crash that killed Kern High School District Police Chief Steve Alvidrez. 38-year-old David Lopez Lilly pleaded no contest to second-degree murder and is expected to get 15 years to life when he's sentenced next month. Alvidrez was killed when Lilly's car slammed into his motorcycle on Highway 99 south of Delano. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN Newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
What do you think this is the Army where you shoot them a mile away? You gotta get up close like this. Little thing, you blow their brains all over your nice Ivy League suit.
It's the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Now make sure you leave the house when you get the call. You hear me call from the outside line. I mean it.
Call in or text to 661-842-KERN. That's 661-842-5376. Listen live at KERNradio.com. Now, the host you've been waiting all day for. Live from the KERN studio, here's Ralph Bailey.
Final hour of the broadcast on this Thursday, a beautiful day. And if you're watching on YouTube, then Ralph, why are you in long sleeves and a t-shirt and your Dodger vest? Because it may be 60-something degrees outside, but I'm telling you, it's 39 degrees in this damn studio. I don't know how we do it. But it is cold as a son of a gun in here.
Maybe built on an ancient Indian burial ground.
I don't know what it is. It's the crack in the windows. It's much like my bedroom. Like I have this is how I know I have cracks in my windows. I was laying in bed, and I have a little spider web on my light, and it was moving. I got a freaking nor'easter going through my damn bedroom because my building is really, really old. I love my complex. Don't get me wrong, but it's literally, you know how old it is? Oh, no, I shouldn't say that. I was going to allude to a friend's girlfriend who once lived in my apartment complex when she was in college. But then I started with, do you know how old that is, and would make her old. So I'm not going to say who it is. But a friend of mine's girlfriend literally lived in my apartment, not my complex, in my apartment. I have a 2-bedroom. She was in college, and her and a roommate were in my apartment. So it's extremely old. It's literally like, I think like 80 years old. And I have these windows. I don't have windows that go vertically. They come out. I guess that's horizontally coming out like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
And they roll. And I don't have screens because again they're really slim. That's the one window is two really narrow panes. Two narrow panes. I suppose I better answer this. Please stand by. Oh, that sucks. And so they don't really close airtight. And my bed is right up against the windows. And like when I'm in bed, and I don't know why I'm boring you with this, but nevertheless, I pull the sheet over this arm and watch TV like this, and I'll keep this arm out from underneath the covers because I got to manipulate the thing and I got to be on my phone.
Yeah.
And I'll touch my forearm and it's ice freaking cold. Ice freaking cold. And that's with the heat on even. Because I keep the heat at like 71, 70. What do you keep yours on? I tried 68 and I got through most of the winter, but then I had to kick it up a notch. Like
yeah,
70.
we don't run the heater.
Not at all.
No, we have little space heaters for our rooms.
You know, I said I was going to do that. I said I was going to get a mini fan for the summer as well, and I never did. I just paid. I didn't even look at my bill, but I just paid a $310 PG&E bill.
See, mine was about there too. Mine was about $260.
Yeah, but you got a big old. Your apartment's bigger than mine.
I know, but mine's also like we are rarely ever there.
And I am so angry when I come home because the little college kid, the cute little college girl that lives upstairs, she'll have both bedroom, living room light on. She's got her fan rolling. She's got the bathroom light on. I'm like, I have one light, a television, and my heat on. That's it. That's it. I live in my bedroom. I rarely, on Sundays, I'll go into the living room and watch the 26. One light, no fan going, my heat, and one television, and I'm at least $200 a month. And I'm like, what could hers be?
That's what I always wonder too.
I'm assuming her parents must be paying her bills.
Probably helping out a little bit.
I mean, she's got 3 lights on. Literally, I'll walk up to the complex. I'll look upstairs. She's got her living room light on. She's clearly in the bathroom. Her bedroom light is on because she's upstairs. So she has her drapes open. Nobody's going to eavesdrop on her. And her fan's going. And I'm like, damn. Got a light and a TV. I'm a bitter, angry, very strange man. Got anything left on the board before we get to our UCLA DEI fire, I should say. What do you got?
Let's see. Ralph, have you read Clay Cane's new book?
Clay Cane. No, what is it in regards? I've never heard of Clay Cane. Should I have heard of Clay Cane? Hey Siri, show me Clay Cane.
Here's what I found.
Ice is running wild. The Clay Cane Show. Oh, he's a podcaster. No, I don't know who I don't know the Clay Cane guy. What else you got?
It was Merv's wife that had the idea to ask the question in reverse. What is/who is? He shared this with me when I waited on him every week at Club 19 in Pebble Beach for a summer in '79. He was generous but reclusive and amazingly talented musician.
He was an extremely talented piano player. I believe he also played the horn. He was a singer as well. He was a talented singer. That's how Merv Griffin got into the entertainment industry. He was a singer. He was a nightclub performer. And I don't know how the hell he got his show. He was really famous for doing that. when somebody would have an answer. Ooh, ah. But Jerry Quarry, Shafter boy, who just came around at the wrong time, and the 70 Dodgers, who came around at the wrong time. They ran into a three-peat of the Oakland A's. Then the Cincinnati Reds were hot in the mid-'70s. In the late 70s, it was the New York Yankees. And it wouldn't be until 1981 that we'd finally break through. And I think it's the very, very same thing. Had Merv Griffin come around at any other time than Johnny Carson, he'd have been a superstar. I mean, he was a superstar, but he was never Johnny Carson. None of those guys. I think the pecking order went Johnny, Merv, and then Dick Cavett was a distant third who tried to approach the late night talk show in a kind of a intellectual thing. I remember as a really young kid watching Dick Cavett because he would try to get the guests that Johnny wouldn't book. Like Johnny wouldn't book a young John Lennon in the early 70s, because he'd come on in like fatigues and looking grumpy, and he was anti-Vietnam, and that didn't work in NBC. But Dick Cavett was trying to do kind of a different kind of a show. He had James, which is where I first saw James Baldwin, African-American author. That didn't fly in the early 70s on Carson. That was too out there. And he just had guests like that. Malcolm X was a guest on Dick Cavett who never would have appeared on Johnny Carson show. And guys like that, Dick Gregory. It was interesting. But Merv Griffin, Merv was a very, very talented guy. And I wouldn't be surprised if his wife came up with that the way they said that. He was a brilliant cat. He really, really was. And a very nice man. I only met him twice. He didn't really go to Tony's games at all, which was weird. Because like I said, his son was a really good athlete. He was our ace pitcher. He was the tight end on our football team. And he was the center on our basketball team. It's one of the great memories. I'm playing first base. I've told this 100 times. I don't know why I'm telling you. And we had a timing play that I thought would never work, where if there's a run on first and he's slow, or even if he's fast, you put on a timing play where you tell Tony, you pull your belt and you say, I'm going to line up behind the guy and I'm not worried about this guy. He's too slow. I'm going to line up behind him. And if Tony pulled on his belt, that meant when he got to the belt, we both would count to 3, and then I would break to first base and be a timing play where he would have to throw it at first base, not at me, because I'm running. And we ran it against Flint Ridge Prep, our arch enemies, where Colin Marikawa went to high school much, much later. And there was a runner on first and third, and I said to Tony, it's too dangerous to throw over here with a runner on third. And I pulled my belt. I said, so I'm going to play behind the guy. And he returned the sign, and I counted 1, 2, 3, and ran to first base. He threw it right there. We got him. And that is one of my favorite sports memories for some reason. Because I'm a very strange man. That's why. Being an athlete was one of the greatest things of my youth. It really, really was. It just, it kept me engaged in school. It's the only reason I did decently in school was to stay on my sports teams. And I was delusional enough to think that there were 5 divisions when I was growing up in Los Angeles. There was 4A, that was Darryl Strawberry and Eric played for the Reds, Chris. Eric Davis. That was 4A, Dorsey, Crenshaw, the big schools. 3A, 2A, 1A, and then small schools division. And that's where I was at Brentwood with our 95 person graduating class. And yet and still, playing 8-man football, I really thought I was an athlete. I really did. And little did I know, not really, Ralph, not really. But it was fun as hell, boy. It was fun as hell. It really, that's the highlight of my childhood. That and traveling to the South every Easter and every summer. Those are the greatest memories of my life. They really are. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we come back. We'll check the board. I'll tell you the story of the UCLA DEI man who was fired for celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. He is now suing the UC system. I'm assuming he's a brother. It doesn't say in the story, but I assume he's a brother. Head of the DEI at UCLA. But regardless, whether you're white, green, black, or orange, can you be fired? Maybe we'll talk about that on Tuesday with Teresa Golder. Can you be fired for inappropriate behavior on Facebook and posts and TikTok and whatnot? I think so. We've seen it happen. The couple that got caught on the big screen at the Coldplay concert, that had nothing to do with work. Both of them got whacked. In this man-tilted society, of course. Do you know his wife took him back? Do you know that? Was it? His wife took him back. Her husband did not take her back.
Wasn't it an inter-work relationship, though?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be work-related?
What do you mean?
You said it wasn't work-related.
Well, I mean, they were outside of work.
Oh, okay.
They were at a concert. They were minding their own business.
Okay, yeah, that's why I confused you.
Yeah.
Like she's the HR lady for his company.
No. That's why I was tying it into the guy that made the comments on Facebook.
Okay.
Can you get fired for your behavior outside of the job?
Yeah.
And the answer is hell yes, apparently. But yeah, his wife took him back, but her husband was like, no. And you know, she insists, she's finally spoken up. She insists we weren't having an affair. It was just all mixed up. Come on, lady. Nobody runs like that in shame unless y'all were doing the nasty. Come on, please. Quick timeout. Coming right back. It's TRBS on a Thursday, right here on Newstalk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. We're streaming live at kernradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Couple of money matters on the next Armstrong and Getty show. Those wonderful sounding charitable endeavors your local government is involved with. Where does the money actually go? We've got a great case study for you. And who's financing all these protests around the country?
Who talked Trump out of attacking Iran? That story's growing and getting more interesting. Among more news of the day, we'll have for you on the next Armstrong and Getty show.
Weekdays noon to 2 on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
You know, oddly, one of the things I rarely talk about when I talk about KC Steakhouse is lunch. If you work downtown, if you work for the county or wherever on Truxton, it's not very far and it's real quick and it's very convenient. And the menu is similar, just smaller portions, and it is outstanding. And the variety on the menu that Chef Daniel has put together now is simply unbelievable. It's mostly a large groups coming to Casey Steakhouse. And not everybody's feeling red meat to celebrate someone's birthday or an anniversary or whatever the event may be. And that's why Chef Daniel has advanced the menu. So there's Italian food. I love the fettuccine Alfredo with chicken. The lobster mac and cheese is everybody's favorite. The fish dishes, the mahi-mahi, the swordfish, the halibut. Where would you rather be than on F Street? And don't forget about the Stockyard next door for meetings, banquets, or just having dinner and having some of the craft cocktails that are served next door. It's Casey's Steakhouse, longtime sponsors of the Ralph Bailey.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. It's hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
You still thinking job change in the new year? Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy. IT? Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI. That's what I did. Really? How? Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up. Sweet. Are classes online or on campus? Both. Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show. Catch me weekday morning 6 to 9 a.m. on First Look with Scott Cox, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I lost Wendy's head. There it is. I don't know why his head won't stay on. See that? I don't know what the problem is. Because the spring on all the other ones are on the body, and this one's on the head, so I can't reconnect the head with the body. But I was just looking at this, and I was going to share this with the YouTube listeners. Isn't this a cool, unique bobblehead? I mean, nobody's got this. Who's got this? Do you guys know what this is? Can you see that? This is the only group of baseball players in the history of MLB to all hit 30 home runs in one season. That is on your right, Ron Say, on the knee. To your left, that's Dusty Baker. And standing up to your right is Reggie Smith, who played right field for the Dodgers. And with his head bowed is failed Senate candidate Steve Garvey, who would later go on and play for the San Diego Padres and take them to a World Series and lose to the Yankees, but nevertheless. In fact, I think they got swept by the Yankees. But I just think that's a really unique bobblehead. Think that'd be worth money in about 10, 15 years?
Oh, yeah.
When all those guys are dead?
Even before that, to be honest.
Yeah. Problem is, I might be dead 10, 15 years. 842-5376. Let's clear the board last couple of minutes to the bottom of the hour.
Ralph, my large one-bedroom apartment is $900 a month, and I just paid $60 PG&E bill. In the summer, my PG&E is $125. I ran a microwave-size AC all day, 12 p.m. till 6 p.m. when used my bathroom AC on and off. My place was built in 1970. Downtown apartments are like beachfront property. Expensive.
$900 a month for a one bedroom? You think that's expensive if you lost your mind? You've got a great deal, dude.
I want to know where you live.
Yeah, no kidding. Don't ever leave. That's why I'm never leaving my place. My place was like, I have a 2-bedroom, and my place was like 9 when I first moved in, and he's up to twice, and I'm still good with that, Jack. I think I have got the deal of the century. That's why there's an older woman who lives. We've got 2 old people in our complex. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unit complex right downtown, right down the street from Casey's Steakhouse. And there's an older woman who works for BHS who's been there a long time. And I'm the other old hag that's been there for at least 13 years because I was living there when I was at Buckley Radio. So I've been there. It'll be March, will be my 13th year here. So I probably lived in this complex for 15 years. I love it. The location is great. I'm 15, 20 minutes from every place in the city. I'm 10 minutes from Bakersfield Country Club. I'm walking distance from Casey Steakhouse. I'm walking distance during the summer when I get my hair cut downtown, or I'm going to, I can't walk to Mexicali. I've always wanted to make that challenge. I've walked home from Mexicali, but that's with a little, Jose Cuervo as fuel. But I'm going to try to make that walk this summer down to Mexico. The only problem with walking someplace, what's the big problem in walking to someplace in the summer, Chris Burdick?
Having to walk back?
No.
The heat?
The heat. You walk in all sweaty and nasty and funky.
Yeah.
You just got out of a shower. I've just put on a little Aqua de Gio and a 10-minute walk in 100-degree weather, and you're funky as a bear. You smell like you've been sitting in a Little League game for 2.5 hours. But walking home is okay. You're about to take a shower, so who cares? But I never walk places to something. Like my KCCD meetings are like 3 blocks from where I live. You know where the KCC building is on Chester. And during the summer, I won't walk to a meeting. So I come in all stinky and nasty. I probably couldn't get nasty and stinky in 3 blocks, but you're sweaty. Certainly. And I don't wear T-shirts, although I should. I've been wearing more T-shirts, though. You know why, don't you? Don't say it. Don't even say it. Pretend you're stupid. The man boobs, the A cups. So disgusting. And you know what they say? Some doctors would tell me that it's marijuana smoking that causes my A cups.
Maybe from the eating.
From the what?
Eating after smoking.
I don't really get the munchies like that. I really don't. I smoke, like, this is my routine when I get home. I eat my dinner, I'll have my 1 cocktail, and then I'll indulge. And I really don't eat after that. I really don't. I try to drink water before I go to bed. But I really don't eat after dinner, after like 7:30. I really don't get that. It's weird. You would think I'd get the munchies. And I'm trying to keep my A1C down. That's what I used to do. I would eat dinner, then get high, and then eat my dessert. And that's why I was pre-diabetic for a while. Eating cookies from Jake's Tex-Mex. Oh, those chocolate chip cookies. Or get the banana cake from Coconut Joe's. Or the brownies from Jersey Mike's. Last half hour. Don't go anywhere.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado says she presented a Nobel Peace Prize medal to President Trump. She described it as a recognition of his commitment to Venezuela's freedom. Mr. Trump confirmed later on social media that she had left the medal for him. Troops from European countries, including France and Germany, are arriving in Greenland to boost security. This comes as the White House on Thursday described plans for more talks with officials from Denmark and Greenland as technical talks on the acquisition agreement for the U.S. to acquire Greenland. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 292 points, the Nasdaq rose 58, the S&P advanced 17. More details at srnnews.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. From the KERN Newsroom, your live and local news update on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm Chris Davis. A man was murdered last night about 11 at a house on Rosalia Drive, says Bakersfield PD. When they got to the scene, they found the man shot to death in a driveway. They have not released his name, they have not discussed a motive, and they have not announced any arrests. A not guilty plea was entered in court Wednesday by Jonathan Fraze, the man accused of shooting John Duvall Jr. to death in the early morning hours of January 2nd in Oildale. Fraze is expected back in court next month. The smell of natural gas is the reason night court for Kern County Superior Court was canceled last night. PG&E says the leak was at a house near the courthouse. All cases from Wednesday night are continued. I'm Chris Davis in the KERN newsroom with news every half hour and when it breaks on FM 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Hey folks, Scott Cox here for Sanguera Subaru. I can't believe it's 2026.
Believe it or not, Dawson put it on this morning and no one's changed it.
Who did?
Dawson.
Lassie?
I have no idea. He just said, "Where's Lassie?" And I said, "What do you mean Lassie?" And he turned on the Lassie channel. I said, "Why?"
There's a Lassie channel.
That's what this is. It's nothing but Lassie 24/7.
That's crazy.
Every Subaru comes standard with symmetrical all-wheel drive. Get you where you're going every time.
I named my first dog Lassie.
Did you really?
It was a collie that I totally ignored. When I was a little kid, I was a horrible.
Every kid does that, though. You immediately think, "Oh, I want a dog," and then when you get one, you don't realize how much work it takes to actually have one.
Walked it. My parents had to tell me every day to feed it.
Yep.
And they got rid of it after like 3 months.
Cleaning up after it in the backyard's always the worst. Yeah, no,
that's
always what I said too.
Because I doted on Rusty. When we got Rusty when I was 12, I doted on his ass. My parents, I used to have to fight my parents because I want him to sleep in my bedroom, and they wouldn't let me. And then every now and then I'd go in the back and let him in, and he'd sleep on the foot of my bed. My dad
boys just happen to own 5 different properties.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
I'm JR Flores. Catch my show, The JR Show, weekdays at 2 p.m. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Together till the morning brings my tread and I must go.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I think having a dog for a child is a very good thing. I think it helps the maturation process. I really do. Chris and I were talking about that during the break because for whatever reason, Dawson, better known, I guess, to you guys as Billy. Is he still calling him Billy?
Yes, and I don't know why. Well, no, I do know why. Don't get me wrong. I get the inside joke he's doing. I just think it's dumb.
What is the inside joke?
So it's a character in South Park. If you are a fan of the show, one of the characters, Stan, who's the main kid, he has a grandpa who, instead of calling him Stan, calls him Billy because he's so senile he doesn't remember his name.
Okay.
So that's Scott just being like, "I'm the old man and Billy's the young kid." And I'm like, you could just call him Dawson.
He really could. You could call him by his government name. But anyway, Dawson put it on the Lassie channel for reasons we don't understand. And it's been on the Lassie channel all day long. And I finally asked Chris, what the hell's going on? And we were talking about owning a dog and how my first dog was named Lassie. But we had him for 3 months because I was way too young. My parents, I think we were living in Cerritos, so I must have been 71. I was 9 and just way too young to handle a dog. I rarely walked it. I ignored it. It acted wild because I ignored it. And I had to be reminded every day to feed it. And I would just open a can of Alpo and just throw it in a bowl and walk back in the house. It was horrible. But then when we moved into LA and I was 12 and we got Rusty as a young puppy, I doted on Rusty. And it was just great because he grew really quickly. And by the time I was 14, 15, he was like 3 years old and a pretty big dog. And Rusty was just the greatest pet. I mean, if you could design a pet, it would have been Rusty, where he was like loud enough that he could be like defensive. You know what I mean? Like his bark was like kind of scary, but yet he was the most lovable dog in the world. But if you messed with him or if you messed with us, like there were times where my sister and I would get in a fight and Rusty would kind of come after me. And I'm like, dude, whose side are you on? She doesn't feed you. What's the matter with you?
It's just funny. It's usually the one who feeds them.
That's what I would tell Rusty. Dude, who feeds you? Who brings you, sneaks you in the house and lets you sleep on his bed? And you're protecting that little knucklehead. God, my sister and I went at it as kids. We fought daily, literally. But It's the only time I ever saw my father cry. Some of you have heard the story many times. I'm in the back swimming, and I hear my sister, my late sister, my youngest sister, with this shriek that I've never heard before. I mean, just a yelp, just a horrific scream. And my first thought, I don't think my father had had a heart attack by that time, but that was my first thought. My dad has had a heart attack. He's lying in the driveway. And I run through the house, and because the front door is open, and my dad has got Rusty in his arms, where Rusty had snuck in behind his car, and he had clipped Rusty, and he's holding him, he's dead. And it's literally, in 56 years of life, the only time I ever saw my dad cry. He did not cry at his mother's funeral. He did not cry at his father's funeral. He certainly didn't cry at his mother-in-law's funeral. But because we did have one of those families where there was like that subtle animosity between my mother and my dad's mother, and my dad and my mom's mother, because my mother was always bitter that we spent more time in Beaufort, South Carolina than we did right across the Savannah River in Savannah, Georgia with her mother. And one of the main reasons was, as I've always talked about, there were kids in my father's mother's neighborhood that I got to know on a first name basis because we were there every Easter and every summer. And I'd spend, the shank of the summer in Beaufort. Summers were like 3 months long. We'd get out of school in May and not have to go back to school till after Labor Day. And we'd spend at least 2 months in Beaufort. And it just was more fun. And my grandfather would take me crabbing, and we'd go in the country and let me sit in his lap and drive the vehicle. It was just more fun. And my mother always resented it, as if I didn't love her mother as much as I loved my dad's mother. And my grandmother lived in this old neighborhood, and it was just old people. None of them had kids. They had grandkids, but they were never around when I was there. And it was just, but anyway, I don't know why I'm rambling about my childhood. I got to tell you the story about the UCLA DEI hire. That's what I've got to do. 842-5376 is our phone, or 842-KERN. I saw this story in the Fox News reported this story and I'm just going to read it to you. A former DEI director at the University of California, Los Angeles, better known as UCLA, says he has been fired after controversial social media posts regarding the September assassination of conservative icon Charlie Kirk. Quote, UCLA just fired me because I wasn't sad Charlie Kirk died. A clear violation of my First Amendment rights. Jonathan Perkins on the left-wing dominated social media app Blue Sky said, Jonathan Perkins, you think he's a brother? Not really a brother name.
Not really, but it's also
head of DEI.
Yeah.
At a university, at a UC campus. Got to be a brother.
Yeah, I would think so.
Take a look. Look him up. Jonathan Perkins. Perkins linked to a GoFundMe he started to cover his bills while he was jobless. Why didn't I ever think of that? The 4 times that I got fired.
All right, he's a brother.
He is a brother?
He's a brother.
Of course he's a brother. Of course he's a brother. But why didn't I think of that? I don't know if Rogers Brandon came in right now and fired me, I don't think I would have I have too much pride to go for a GoFundMe because I just got fired. And I bet I could raise, you think I could raise 10 grand if I got fired today and put a GoFundMe out there?
Yeah.
I think I could raise like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000.
That's not good. And once you start boasting about it, then people don't want to actually give to you.
Well, it's not going to happen.
No.
First, I would never do it. Second, I'm not going to get fired. But think about, I think a lot of the veterans would help a brother.
I think you would.
A lot of the honor flight people would help me.
The community would band together to help you out.
I bet I could get 100 grand.
Let's save that for honor flight.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, if I can get 50, 60,000 for veterans, I can't get 100 for Ralph. Poor jobless Ralph. The GoFundMe says he is planning to sue the school for alleged First Amendment violations and solicits donations from people interested in, quote, fighting racism. Obviously, I didn't read this. And standing up for free speech. Quote, my pups, 2 cats, and I could use your support. Oh, he's also gay. My pups, 2 cats, and I could use your support as we plan for the next steps. You know, I was trying to be funny, but I'd be willing to bet $50 he's gay. Although I guess if somebody read my bio, they'd say the same thing about me. He ain't never been married, ain't got no kids. Gay. Perkins was the school's former director of race and equity. Quote, UCLA just fired me over blue sky posts about not being sad about Charlie Kirk on September 12th, 2 days after Kirk was shot and killed while hosting a Turning Point USA event on Utah Valley University's campus. Perkins appeared to suggest in a now deleted post that Kirk deserved to die. I think that's enough to get you fired. I really do. Quote, multiple times throughout his short life, Charlie Kirk has proudly proclaimed the United States' 45,000 or so annual gun deaths are, quote, worth it for his beloved Second Amendment right to bear arms. That's completely taken out of context. Dude made his bed, reaped what he sowed, chickens came home to roost, etc. Shake my head. Yeah, that's fireable. That's fireable. I'm always glad when bigots die. Yeah, that's fireable. I'm always glad when bigots die. And I bet he's an atheist, because that's certainly not Christianity. Quote, it is okay to be happy when someone who hated you and called for your people's death dies, even if they're murdered. First of all, Charlie Kirk did not hate black people. He was not a bigot. Did he say things that bothered me a bit? Yes. But who doesn't? Who do you know doesn't say something that is like, what did you say? That doesn't irritate you, that you don't agree with? But again, it's the 21st century, and that's where we are. And if we disagree politically or if we disagree on major issues, then it's okay to not only not grieve, but to celebrate one's death. I think the new phrase now that everybody's using is unalive, which I can't stand. F around and find out is really doing its thing lately, said a fourth post. Quote, UCLA has placed a campus employee on immediate leave and has launched an investigation following reports of social media posts regarding the murder of Charlie Kirk. While free expression is a core value of UCLA, violence of any kind, including the celebration of it, is completely unacceptable and will not be tolerated. Bravo, UCLA. Good for you. I don't give a damn if he is a brother. On Wednesday evening, a UCLA spokesperson told Fox News that the school does not comment on personnel matters under university policies, employees, blah, 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 blah. Perkins didn't return a phone call, blah, 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 blah. No, he absolutely deserved to be fired. Absolutely deserved to be fired. I think there should be some code of morality that you have to sustain to maintain a job because you're representing these people. I represent American General Media. If I go out and act a fool and say something ridiculous that is way past the line, like, oh, I don't know, celebrating somebody's death, that's not going over the line. I certainly think it is. I wasn't raised like that. I don't think many of you were raised like that. So yeah, and it's just funny that he's the DEI guy, which probably in itself was a DEI hire. You know, how else did we know that he was a brother? We didn't even, I mean, I've never even seen a picture of him. And the name Jonathan Perkins, it's not like it's, you know, Tyrone Washington. You know what I'm saying? But yet we knew he was a brother, and he was a brother. DI in work. Let's go ahead and take our final break of the night. Tomorrow is a Friday. God, I'm looking forward to the weekend. Not just because it's a 3-day weekend. I'm getting in 36 holes. I'm playing with somebody on Saturday. And then I told Mr. Swaim I'm going to join the boys. They tee off now at 8 o'clock at Sundale, and it's going to be 65 degrees on Sunday, so I think I can weather the first 9 holes where it'll be a little cold, but by 10, 11 o'clock, be right in my wheelhouse. And then you know where I'm headed, Chris Burdick. Where am I headed?
Easy Steakhouse?
After my round at Sundale?
Oh, at In-N-Out.
That's right.
Well, is that a smart idea?
Why not?
Did we say last time that you were going to stop doing that because of the gout situation?
No.
Oh.
No, red meat doesn't bother me.
What was it? You had told me something about that you were going to slow down at the In-N-Out thing. Was it because that you were getting tired of putting them in the freezer or something like that? I can't remember.
Oh, that I was getting 2 burgers.
Yeah.
I said I would stop doing that.
Ah.
I was getting 2 burgers, and I would have one for lunch, and then I'd throw the other one in the freezer, and then warm it up. But I don't even know if I said I was going to stop doing that.
I swear you told me you were going to stop doing that. But,
Yeah.
Maybe I'm crazy.
And I've learned to like their fries.
Yeah, see, no, I'm good.
No, you can't get
If I animal style it, sure. But
animal style is with the chili?
Yeah, the chili and the sauce and stuff on top.
I might have to do that.
So good.
I lost some weight because, I got sick. I'm down to like 195.
Try it animal style. You might like
I might. I just might.
You might like it better that way.
I just might. That's a lot of chili, though.
Well, it's not necessarily chili.
It's not. It's just like the paste.
The sauce, yeah. Sauce and cheese.
Ooh, but I don't need the cheese. But that does sound good. It really does. Final break of the night. Keep it locked. Tomorrow's a Friday. Rick Bentley will be here. We presume we're talking with Brandon Lang. Blew us off last week. Guy calls us from his honeymoon in Italy. But somehow he blew us off last week. Go figure. You're listening to The Ralph Bailey Show on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN. We're streaming live at currentradio.com.
News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Start your day right. First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m.
On the Friday edition of the First Look program, we got a special playoff edition of Football Pick. We got the latest on the whole Kathy Andor-Zach Scribner fiasco, the latest on our Venezuelan oil coup, traffic, weather. It's all happening 6 to 9 a.m. right here at News Talk 96.1 and streaming live on the internet at kernradio.com.
First Look with Scott Cox, 6 to 9 a.m. News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN.
Do I choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number settings. JD Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store and online.
3, 2. There are a couple of things about Dr. King that people aren't aware of. This being his birthday, actually, January 15th. His first love while at Crozier Theological Center in Pennsylvania was a white woman. And he had intended to marry her until Cohort said, dude, you cannot be a Southern Baptist preacher with a white wife. 3, 2, it's that man again. Look what's coming up on the Friday, TRBS. It's a Friday. Rick Bentley, KGET entertainment reporter, will join us, along with Brandon Lang with his NFL picks and his Monday NCAA championship pick. All that, me at 3. TRBS, News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KRN. I'll see you at 3. God dang it.
Cutting your wireless bill in half right now with Pure Talk's Saver plan. It's easy. You'll get unlimited talk, text, and 3 gigs of high-speed data on a super-fast, nationwide 5G network for just $20 a month. Just dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Ho, ho, ho! And if you're active or former military or a first responder, you'll save an additional 20% every single month. That's pound 250. Say Mike Rowe for the gift that keeps on saving from America's wireless company, Pure Talk.
The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
The Charlie Kirk Show, weekdays at 6 p.m. on News Talk 96.1 and AM 1180 KERN. Now, back to the Ralph Bailey Show.
And now someone else is getting...
Tina, final answer.
Nancy.
Damn!
You had it right.
I always get that wrong. And you should always go with your first guess.
Every time.
How do I mess that up?
They always taught us, at least in high school, go with your first guess because it's usually the right one, and C, more than likely, is the correct answer.
On the SAT, that's a bunch of crap.
Oh, it's legit.
The C answer is always
always, but a good amount of the time, if you're looking at it, C could be the correct answer.
That is a bunch of crap.
I'm telling you.
The SAT, because we had an SAT class, our SAT tip was the outlier answer was 7 out of 10 times the right answer.
Mm.
So if the right answer was, is it 5 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles, 50 miles? 50 would normally be the right answer. Whatever the outlier answer was would normally be the answer if you had to guess. But what is the key to taking an SAT in terms of guessing?
Always go with your first guess.
Leave it blank rather than guess.
Yeah. No, if you don't know the answer, leave it blank.
Yes, that is one of the key tips we got that you'd never get at a public school. That it's better if you have no idea what the answer is, it's better to leave it blank than take a wild guess. Just little things like that. Some difference between private and public school. Just saying. What do you got on the board? Let's get out of here. We got Lakers Hornets tonight at 7:30.
Let's see. Bills beat Denver by 7. Niners beat Sea Chickens by 3. Patriots over Houston by 7. And Bears will beat the Rams by 3. All predictions made by our favorite 49er fan, Larry.
Ooh, let me hear what he's saying so I can bet the opposite. What's he saying again?
Bills over Denver by 7.
Okay, so I got Denver.
Niners over Seahawks.
Oh, well, that's a good one. Of course, I got Seahawks.
Patriots over Texans.
Well, no crap.
See, I'm not sold on that, to be honest with you.
You think the Texans are going to beat the Patriots?
Have you watched that defense?
Yeah, but I think you're the one that campaigned for this guy to be the MVP, and you started at the end of the season. You started to convince me.
I'm not glad you. He is a fantastic
crappy first half last week.
Yes, he did.
A horrible first half,
and that's what
he settled in.
That's what concerns me.
But he settled in.
Yeah, Chargers, though, are the 5th best defense. Houston is number 1. So I'm sitting here looking at it. They're going against a better defense.
What's the weather like in New England?
Ooh, good question, Juan.
Here, I'll beat you to it. Hey, Siri, what's the weather in, where are they? Roxbury, New England.
Foxborough.
It's currently
partly cloudy and 25 degrees in
Roxbury, Connecticut. Starting tonight. Hey, Siri, what's the weather in Foxborough?
35 high, 20 low.
35 high?
35 high, 20 low, Possibility of snow, 20% precipitation. Possibility.
I got the Pats.
It's going to be a rough game.
You know who it's going to come down to?
CJ?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I said the same thing last week.
Absolutely.
If CJ didn't get bailed out with those 5 snaps, or 3 of them going their way, they would have lost that game.
He has got to play well, and he does not always play well.
No.
Sometimes he plays like Tom Brady, but sometimes he plays like Ralph Bailey. And what else who's he like in the Rams-Bears game?
He likes the Bears.
Damn. So I'm betting Rams, even though I like the Bears.
Yeah, I think the safer bet is the Rams here.
I just don't see Stafford playing that well in 9-degree weather, man. Maybe not Stafford, but what's the child's name? Nicky Pakua. I can never pronounce his name. What's the child's name? 12.
Puka Nakua.
Where is he from?
He played, I believe.
No, I want to know where he grew up.
Oh, Cali, I think.
Thank you. If not, isn't he? I thought he was Hawaiian.
Oh, he is Hawaiian, but I think he's from. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find out. He was always born in Vegas.
Born in Vegas.
Even worse. But
even worse. Exactly. Born in the desert.
He's a tough SOB, though.
He is a tough son of a gun. He is.
And Stafford, apparently, from our reading here, is 3-3 in freezing conditions. So it could go either way.
Yeah, it could be. I like the Bears running game. Who's the rookie? 30? Not Swift, the other kid.
So Swift is
Mabuka or something like that.
Talking about for the Bears?
Yeah. Manungai. I like him, especially as a counter to Swift.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
I think that's what Johnson was going for, was that Swift Montgomery
Thunder and Lightning
he had early.
Yeah, the Thunder and Lightning. The physical and then the shifty.
I'm going to feel bad, though, if he drafts a running back in the first round for the Bears this next year and kicks Swift out again.
No.
That's what he did last time. Jameer Gibbs came in and kicked Swift to the curb.
Yeah, no. Swift, I think they're going to keep. He had a really good season this year. Really good season. They need, what would I draft if I were the Bears? I would,
help.
Yeah.
They got some good guys, but they need a guy.
Yeah. And there's some good receivers coming out in this draft, too.
Yeah.
Jack. There really are. A couple of kids from Alabama.
I want that Jeremiah Smith kid so bad from Ohio State. I know he's not coming out, but
that kid at SC.
He does.
The kid at SC.
Yeah. Makai Lemon.
Yeah.
Great for them.
Yep.
Shoot, Jacoby Lane would be too.
Yeah. There's some really, really good receivers. Tomorrow, Rick Bentley and Brandon Lang want to thank Mr. Turnipseed and Daniel Petrie. In the meantime, for Chris Burdick, I'm Ralph Bailey. That's what's really going on. We'll wrap to you tomorrow.
This is AM 1180 KERN Green Acres. This is 96.1 FM Bakersfield. Online at KERNradio.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. As reports continue to trickle in on Iran's crackdown on protests in that country, U.S. Ambassador to the UN Mike Walls says President Trump will take action against the Islamic Republic.
President Trump is a man of action, not endless talk like we see at the United Nations. He has made it clear all options are on the table to stop the slaughter. And no one should know that better than the leadership of the Iranian regime.
The U.S. was joined Thursday by Iranian dissidents to rebuke the government's bloody crackdown on nationwide protests that activists say have killed at least 2,637 people. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says President Trump is considering invoking the rarely used Insurrection Act in response to violence in Minneapolis at protests against the federal immigration crackdown.
I discussed with the president this morning several things that we are dealing with under the department and different operations. We did discuss the Insurrection Act. He certainly has the constitutional authority to utilize that. My hope is that this leadership team in Minnesota will start to work with us to get criminals off the streets.
The announcement comes a day